Pipelines from Alberta to Ontario are nothing new, but the one running from Edmonton to Ottawa carries not oil, but talent, football talent. Ottawa head coach Steve Goldman was once an assistant with the Edmonton Eskimos. Quarterback Damon Allen led the Eskimos to their last Grey Cup victory. Stephon Jones was once the feared deep threat in green and gold. Greg Stuman terrorized quarterbacks as a member of the front four. The outspoken Andre Francis was always good for a quote. And now he's joined by the equally outrageous Jeff Braswell. Formerly, they were Eskimos all. Tonight, they return to Commonwealth Stadium. Not to wave the Eskimo flag, but to do battle with their former team. And it's coming up live on TSN. Presents the CFL Game of the Week. Tonight's game is brought to you by Diet 7-Up. It's cool to be clear. And by GMC Trucks, the trucks more people lean on. It rained earlier tonight, but now the skies are relatively clear. We expect a good evening for the Edmonton Eskimos and Ottawa Rough Riders. It's Edmonton's home opener here at Commonwealth Stadium. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Week 2 of the CFL season here on TSN. I'm Gord Miller. In Week 1, all four home teams were beaten. The Edmonton Eskimos will try to reverse that trend as they play their home opener tonight. And you've got to like their chances here at Commonwealth Stadium. Edmonton has won 16 of its last 18 regular season games in their home park. Lots of great storylines in this ball game. There are, of course, all the former Edmonton Eskimos playing for Ottawa and vice versa. Wide receiver David Williams, now with Edmonton, has something to prove to his former employers, as do players like Andre Francis and Jeff Braswell, who were let go by the Edmonton Eskimos in the offseason. We look forward to a great night of football and what turns out to be a pretty good rivalry. And to talk more about tonight's game, let's go upstairs to John Wells and Lee Pedersen.
All right, Gord, quite simply, the key to success for the Ottawa Rough Riders is at quarterback. Damon Allen has to be consistent. He has some good numbers, Lee, 34 touchdowns last year, but he has to be consistent.
Well, John, there's no question. I mean, he is a great player when he is on, but, you know, he's like the little kid that when he is good, he is very good, and when he is bad, oh, my, he is bad. But Damon Allen this year, the fortunes of the Ottawa Rough Riders really lie squarely on his shoulders. If he can have an all-star kind of season, they have a chance to do some things. If he has a mediocre year, I don't like their chances at all. So Damon, last year of his contract, a lot of pressure.
Thought the Eskimos looked good in their season opener against the Rough Riders in Regina last week, Lee. Once they got started, they were down 20-love before they woke up.
Well, I think they've got a great football team and should be a great force in the Western Conference, but they cannot do that every week, get behind 20 and expect to win those games. And maybe it's the low-key approach of the new regime here that maybe they have to crank it up just a touch.
Well, no more low-key than when they won 5 Grey Cups in a row with Campbell as the coach.
I grant you that, but, you know, Ronnie might want to say to the fellas before the game tonight, hey, guys, don't wait till the second quarter. Let's come out of the gate flying, and I'm sure that was his message to the team.
Great tradition of the Eskimos continues here at Commonwealth, where they do not lose many football games. Gord?
All right, thanks very much, gentlemen. Last week, the Ottawa Rough Riders played their season opener against the Toronto Argonauts, and Mike Clemens returned this kick 94 yards for the touchdown as Toronto came from a deficit to beat Ottawa 35-18 at Lansdowne Park. At Taylor Field last week, a game we showed you on TSN, Jim Sandusky with a touchdown reception. Edmonton came back from the 20-0 deficit and won its opener 34-25 over Saskatchewan. The matchup we'll be watching tonight, Ottawa rush end Greg Stuman against Edmonton offensive tackle Trevor Bowles, their former teammates, and it should be a great battle tonight. In fact, there are great battles up and down the line of scrimmage on both sides. Coming up next, it's Ottawa, it's Edmonton, it's Old Home Week, and it's coming up next on TSN.
Week 2 in Canadian football kicks off under cloudy skies and on real grass at Commonwealth in Edmonton. The Ottawa Rough Riders take on the Eskimos. Last July, these two teams racked up 96 points, and Ottawa won that game 50-46.
That was unbelievable, that game, and no question Steve Goldman would like to see one of those tonight.
Ready for the Ottawa Rough Riders, Eddie Brown, Reggie Barnes, and ready to kick it off for the Edmonton Eskimos, Ray McAreedy.
3, 2, 1.
All right, we're off with a bang here at Commonwealth tonight. And this is Brown on the return. He's out near the 35-yard line.
Well, that scared me.
Those aren't guns going off. Everybody got a balloon to come to the game with tonight.
Well, there he is, Damon Allen. We talked about him in our opening, and a tremendous amount of pressure on this quarterback. I think more so on him than any other quarterback in the league, because the fortunes of this club lie squarely on his shoulders. If he plays well, they've got a chance. If he has a mediocre game or season, I don't like their chances at all.
1st and 10 for Ottawa, beginning at the 35. Allen gets some pressure and gets away. And barely back to the line of scrimmage. In fact, he lost a yard. Up front, the Ottawa Rough Riders look just the same as they did 1 year ago, with Smith and Ilyarenko at the tackles, Roper and Illebrun on the guards, and Damon is the center. A new wide receiver on the left side, and Eddie Brown.
I'll be interested to see Jock Climby gets the start at the slot back position. You'll remember him as an all-Canadian with Queen's University, so watch for him tonight. Reggie Barnes, one of the best running backs in the league, is back in the lineup this year after some injuries last season.
2nd and 11 from the 34. Allen gets more pressure. And finally, tossed out by the toaster, Brett Williams.
Damon Allen forced out of bounds by Brett the Toaster Williams for the Eskimos.
A gain of a couple,
Gain of 2 yards on the
but
play
it
for
is
the
quickly
Rough
3rd down Ottawa.
I think Steve Goldman would be the first to tell you that for their offense to be effective, Damon Allen has to run with the football. On the other hand, in conversations with Ron Lancaster tonight, Ronnie said, Leaf, he said, our ends will be playing wide. We are going to try and make sure Damon does not get out of the pocket.
Baker's kick with the wind is not deep. Henry the Gizmo Williams waits for it. There is 28, and there's nowhere to go. Gizmo is back to the 30, and that's where the Eskimos will begin. A 3-yard return after a 47-yard punt. And enter Tracy Ham. Big numbers last week, big numbers last season.
1st and 10 Eskimos with the ball on their own 30-yard line.
The Eskimos' first offensive sequence begins at the 30. And Blake Marshall gets the first carry. Marshall has 5 yards out to the 35.
About a 5-yard gain.
Well, this is an offense that features a lot of weapons. Good all-Canadian offensive line. Randy Ambrosi with an outstanding game last week in Saskatchewan. Craig Ellis, well, all he had was 106 catches last year. A good week last week. David Williams, Sandusky, Reggie Taylor, and the power running of Greg Marshall. I mean, there is not a weakness anywhere.
On 2nd and 5, Sandusky was the intended target, and Ham was off target.
Pretty much the way they started last week in Regina, 2 and out. Slow start for Tracy Ham. You know, traditionally the first quarter is the one quarter of the game that you run the least amount of offensive plays, and that was certainly true last week for them. That statistic held true, but tonight I'm sure they'd like to change that around.
Ray McAreedy standing back at his 20 and kicking this into a slight breeze. Weather has changed dramatically here in the last hour or so. The winds were howling and there was rain in the air, but so far it's a pretty nice night for football. This is Bart Hall on the return, and he's out at the 41-yard line. 6-yard return. Willie Pless in on the tackle. 40-yard kick.
The Rough Riders with a 6-yard
Ron Lancaster looked a little white last week in Regina during the first 20 minutes of that football game, but he was happy by the end of it all.
Well, I mean, he was down 20 zip so fast, it was kind of shell-shocked. But they came back for him and ended up with a victory.
Edmonton number 22, first down Ottawa.
Blake Marshall charged with unnecessary roughness. So the Ottawa Rough Riders get a first down right out at midfield.
Great spot to start a drive.
Ottawa, the Eskimo 54.
That's Reggie Barnes, number 19.
Reggie Barnes, the ball carrier. Standing back, and it's Brett Toaster Williams.
Eskimos have gone to a 3-man front.
They've switched around a little bit this year. 3-man front, 4 linebackers, but pretty much on every play, either Leroy Blue or Larry Ruck will blitz from the outside, so 4 men on the passing play rushing. Newcomer back in the league again, Roy Bennett on the corner. He had some great years with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
2nd and 3, and David Conrad has the first down for Ottawa. Across the Eskimo 40. So this is the first down of the game for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Oh, it's funny, Ronnie Lancaster and I had a long chat before the game, and we were looking at Ottawa, what they might try and do to his defense tonight, and I said, Ronnie, I said, the only way they can beat you is to run the ball right straight at you. And he said, you know, Leaf, if they are going to beat us, it'll be by the run. So they get their first down of the ball game on the ground.
To the far side, Eddie Brown, number 2 out of Iowa State, first year in Ottawa. Mark Mathis was over covering.
Eddie had a touchdown in their opener against the Argonauts last week and got some experience last year. 10 games with the Calgary Stampeders, was released and signed as a free agent for 1991 by the Ottawa Rough Riders. Got some pretty good speed, Eddie Brown.
After a gain of 8, it is 2nd and 2 Ottawa. From the Eskimo 31. Reggie Barnes once more.
Reggie Barnes, the ball carrier for the Rough Riders.
And let's see if he has the first down. He has it by a yard, a gain of 3.
Usually the easiest way to run against a 3-4 lineman is straight at it. You get a few bubbles that you like to attack, and the bubbles, of course, are over each guard. The guard can come and fire straight out on the 2 inside linebackers, Willie Pless and Danny Bass, and Reggie Barnes has picked up some pretty good yardage in that area already.
Good fake by Allen. It opens up on the right side. He'll have the first down and a chance for the touchdown. He's inside the 5 to the 4. James Rockford, the safety, saved the touchdown.
What a tremendous fake that was. Watch the fake on the trap. The guard and right tackle pull. They fake the Reggie Barnes. David Allen has it on his hip, and as we suggested, their success will lie with his running ability. 23 yards right there, and what a beautifully executed offensive play that was. Hey, when he is good, he is very, very good.
Exactly what you told me.
And he looks pretty good so far in the first quarter.
First down, goal to go. The Ottawa Rough Riders are at the Eskimo 4. Flag is down, and they whistle the play dead. Where was the movement, Leifert? Looks like against Ottawa.
I think it was time count.
Time count violation. Ottawa number 9. First down repeated.
Boy, traditionally, as you look at this football club and how they have struggled in the past and gained some respectability last year, but it always seems when they get down in that red zone, the scoring zone, they seem to shoot themselves in the foot. And, I mean, that's a huge penalty right there. Takes you out of a running play.
On 2nd down, Allen looks to run himself, and he's back to where he began. 4-yard gain.
Well, the reason why Damon has to run the football is because all his receivers are covered. The Edmonton Eskimos secondary coming up and with their great quickness and speed, jamming the Ottawa receivers at the line of scrimmage. Nobody open, so once again, Damon Allen has to take off with the football. But Gerald Wilcox and Jock Climby inside, they're really getting manhandled at this point.
2nd and goal to go Ottawa from the Eskimo 5. Allen looks to the corner. No catch. Eddie Brown, the intended receiver. Mark Mathis covering.
Well, he's complaining that Eddie Brown pushed off from him, and I think he might have a legitimate complaint.
It should have been a touchdown.
Well, you know, your 1st and goal at what? Did they start at the 4-yard line? You know, you're talking 3-down football with that running game and Reggie Barnes, and now all of a sudden a silly delay of game or time count violation takes you into a field goal situation.
Terry Baker, chip shot, and his season continues perfectly as a field goal kicker. 2 for 2 last week, and he has the first points of this evening of football at Commonwealth in Edmonton.
Okay, Greg Steuben's a very great rush end. He's very quick, uses his hands very well, grabs cloth well. He'll be trying to get upfield on me and then widen me out and try to come back underneath. I've got to play him inside out get my hands on him and use my size advantage on him.
Well, Trevor, he's a guy who's been around a while and got great movement. I mean, he has a long range, or a wide range, rather. And, you know, he's a guy that goes out and plays hard for 60 minutes, and I think I'm going to have my hands full tonight.
Well, that's the matchup we're going to follow for you tonight. There's big Trevor Bowles, and size he has plenty of. 6'5", 280 pounds, and Greg Stuman, 6 foot 235, so 45-pound weight advantage in favor of Trevor Bowles, and I think Greg Stuman probably paid him the highest compliment that you could. He said, here's a guy that works hard for 60 minutes, and it's going to be a fun matchup that we'll keep you abreast of all evening long.
Ready for the Ottawa kickoff. Greg Stuman has been around a little bit. Canadian football.
13 sacks last season, an MVP year in 1987. He's had a great career in his 6 years in the CFL.
Baker kicking off to the far side, and this is Henry Williams ready for the return. The Ottawa Rough Riders can't contain Williams as he's out to the 30. And finally forced out at the Edmonton 41. The kicker Baker and Anthony Drawhorn over to force Williams, and that play was a little slow developing. Now that the Ottawa Rough Riders had it covered, but Williams got away.
Well, more and more teams seem to like to start it up the middle and then break it to the outside and trap all those kick cover people in the middle of the field, and then, of course, with the great speed that the Giz has, he was able to outrun a bunch of guys.
21 yards on the return, 1st and 10. The Eskimos begin from the 41. Flags down for early movement, and nowhere to run. Patrick Wayne might have jumped the gun for Ottawa.
Well, you go back to the Giz and his returns, you know, he gets so mad. Like every time he touches the football, he thinks he should go all the way.
Offside, Ottawa number 35, first down repeated.
It'll be 1st and 5 Edmonton. 7:58 remaining in the opening quarter. Ottawa leading by 3. Blake Marshall.
The ball carrier.
Stopped by John Kropke.
John Kropke making the tackle.
John Kropke's really established himself quietly as a pretty strong member of this front four. The Ottawa Rough Riders been with him for 3 seasons now, and good size at 6'5" and 278, and he really read that play quickly. And well, when you stop Greg Marshall to a 2-yard gain, you've done a nice job.
This is 2nd and 4, and this Reggie Taylor averaging 7.8 yards per carry so far in 91.
Picking him up on the play to the right.
Jeff Braswell led the Ottawa tacklers that time. Here's how the Rough Riders stack up front. Really no changes up front, with Kropke playing, I think, the majority of games for Ottawa in that position last year.
Yes, he did. The only other one gone really is John Manders from that group. A couple of new linebackers, Brian Bonner, and of course the much talked about Jeff Braswell. Andre Francis comes over from the Edmonton Eskimos as a free agent. He starts on the quarter. Lance Shields on the other corner, former Hamilton Tiger Cat. So the Ottawa Rough Riders have made some changes on that defense this year.
Glenn Kulka is the injured Rough Rider right now. We'll take a timeout and return to Commonwealth in Edmonton. Jeff Braswell has changed his number and his uniform for this season. Sort of a homecoming for Braswell, but there was no real parade in Edmonton today when he arrived.
Not a whole lot of people at the airport waiting to say hello to him. I mean, there's controversy has certainly followed him every stop that he has made throughout the career, but his career, he's not talking to anybody, and so there's no quotes to relate to you.
Safe to say he was traded 5 minutes after Ron Lancaster was named head coach of the Eskimos. It only took Lancaster a little bit of time to make the deal to get David Williams and get Braswell out of town.
1st and 10 Eskimos with the ball on their own 52-yard line.
1st and 10 Edmonton from the 52. Ham is in trouble and he's down. Rob Pradanovic. Number 74 got through to Tracy Ham that time.
Great coverage downfield, forced that sack. You're not going to see it, but the linebackers doubled the inside receivers, took that part of the game away from Tracy Ham and had nowhere to go, and here's the coverage I'm talking about. Watch Patrick Wayne, number 35. He's going to run with Craig Ellis, shield him off from getting to the inside on that hook pattern. That's where Tracy Ham wanted to go. Good defense.
Minus 12, and the Eskimos can't get back for a first down as Ellis makes the catch out at the 55, and he's a couple of yards short.
Well, so far in the first quarter, the Ottawa Rough Riders have played some good defense against the pretty high-powered Edmonton offense.
15-yard gain for Ellis, but they needed 22. To enter Ray McAreedy. Standing at his 40. Too deep for Ottawa. Eddie Brown calls for it. Lost the ball, and there's little return. Rough Riders will begin deep in their own zone from about the 23. They lead it 3-0 in the first in Edmonton.
Here's something you don't see every day. Quarterbacks from opposing football teams warming up together before the game. But Edmonton quarterback Tracy Ham, who was a former teammate of Damon Allen, says no big deal.
The bottom line is when you put your helmet on and the gun sound, it's time to play, and you really don't concern yourself. You know, we know these guys, we know their families, we know their kids, so it's a real tight league as far as personnel-wise. But I think the main thing is when you put your uniform on and like I said, when the gun sound, that you come out to play your best football.
Changed from the days when I played.
Say that, yeah. You didn't talk to anybody out there, did you?
You know what? I didn't. I'm telling you, I started in 1974 with a very veteran Saskatchewan Rough Rider team, and if you looked or even smiled at one of the guys on the other team in a warm-up, the veterans would be on you, and times have changed.
Here we go with a first down for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and Barnes is the ball carrier going nowhere. Danny Bass was through, -3.
Danny Bass made the tackle, but number 47, Larry Ruck, right in the middle of your screen there, made a super play. Watch how he takes on the left tackle, Rob Smith, pulling around the corner. He stuffs the play there. Now, he doesn't make the tackle, but he slowed Reggie Barnes down enough that his pals in that linebacking core took care of the rest. That's a nice play by Larry Ruck.
2nd and 13. The Riders at the Ottawa 20. Barnes once more. And he's back to the original line of scrimmage, met by Larry Ruck. I believe Reggie Barnes was the only running back in the league last year to get over 100 yards against the Eskimo defense. He picked up 129 in that Ottawa victory back July 26, 1990.
Pretty stingy defense on the ground. Terry Baker doing both kicking jobs this year, place kicking and punting. Says he likes doing it, did it in university, and feels very comfortable about his new role.
On the return, Henry Williams. Somehow, he got some yards down the sideline there. 11, and it looked like they had him trapped once more.
And it gives us a gamer, you know, like he could have gone out of bounds there, but he cut back in and only picked up maybe 2 or 3 extra yards, but he took on all those tacklers, and boy, he's a small guy, but got a big heart.
And the Eskimos on the exchange come up with good field position. Glenn Kulka is back. Shaken up earlier. First down. Edmonton at the 51. Intended for Ellis. I don't know what happened there.
Well, he was expecting the blitz and wanted to dump the ball quickly. Ottawa had everybody up on the line of scrimmage showing the blitz, and Tracy Ham's taken some pretty good hits early in this first quarter. That time again, Lloyd Lewis got through to knock him to the ground.
Now 2nd and 10 Eskimos, trailing 3-0. And to the 50, that should be a first down, Edmonton. Jordan Gardner.
Brian Bonner, number 90, is the newcomer, really, in the CFL in that linebacking core. Braswell, of course, new to the team, but a veteran of the league. And Brian Bonner just did not get back in his hook zone quickly enough to eliminate Jordan Gardner. Tracy Ham found him. And although they come up a little bit short, I'm sure that with Blake Marshall running the football in that backfield, I'd have no trouble picking this one up.
Not quite a first down. It is third down. Less than a yard to go. And no flags are down. As Ham keeps himself.
Or Tracy Ham keeping it himself. Behind 6'6", 265 Rod Conniff, which is a pretty good choice.
Lancaster used to have a line, give it to your best back on third and short, and he carried a lot.
Yes. Second first down for the Edmonton offense.
From the 48. Ham on first down. To the near side, Blake Marshall. And Marshall hits up ahead of steam, has the first down. And about 10 to spare. Scott Flagel pushed him out. 20-yard gain, Blake Marshall.
That's a great read by Tracy Ham. If Ottawa's going to drop back in that zone coverage, there you're going to see everybody dropping back. There they go. Now there's nothing downfield. Dump it off to your running back. Force them to come up and make the play. And good partial block by David Williams, but a great read by Tracy Ham.
Ham looks deep. Ellis, touchdown! There is a flag down. A 29-yard touchdown connection. Tracy Ham to Craig Ellis.
Beautiful catch.
Penalty will be against Ottawa. The touchdown will stand. McEready gets set for the point after. Seven-3 Eskimos. 3:09 to play in the opening quarter at Commonwealth.
It's a great throw by Tracy Ham. Craig Ellis on the post working against Anthony Drawhorn, and Tracy puts a lot of air time on that football, allows Ellis with his speed to run away from Drawhorn, and his second touchdown of the year. Watch how he takes it straight up the field now, and that's a great throw by Tracy Ham.
Desiree in Ottawa. Hello. Everybody up in Ottawa too. Saskatchewan. Stymie. Hey, baby, come with it, baby.
He's been around the league, so he's got friends in several cities in the Canadian League.
Oh, no, he could say hello to a few. You know, you talk about Craig Ellis and consistency. I mean, he's led the league a couple of times in receptions, once as a running back. Last year, of course, as a slot back, a very versatile player, and his consistency over a long career has just been amazing.
Not much running room for Eddie Brown on the return. Ottawa will begin deep in their zone. Leading the tacklers that time, as you can see, Rob Davidson.
Well, Anthony Drawhorn just got beaten for a touchdown, and then he gets kind of a rude reception here from Rob Davidson. Watch how Davidson knifes in behind the wedge, and boom. That makes working on the kickoff cover team, it makes it worth it when you get one of those.
From the 21, nowhere to go for Reggie Barnes. Stephen Jordan up from his halfback spot to make the tackle in the open field.
Stephen Jordan making the tackle for the Eskimos.
Stephen Jordan coming over from the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Had 2 seasons with them, and his first full season now with the Edmonton Eskimos. Actually was up for Rookie of the Year a couple of seasons in his first year with the Ticats.
2nd and 12. Allen. Stephon Jones can't bring it in. Roy Bennett covering on Jones, and Allen took the hit.
Roy Bennett on the coverage for the Eskimos.
Good pattern by Stephon Jones. He gets Bennett turned around, and had the ball been on target, no doubt would have probably made the catch. Just can't squeeze it. The pressure was coming, though, on Damon Allen. Number 91, the toaster. Brett Williams was coming in, and we get a pretty good shot at Allen just as he releases that football.
Terry Baker gets it away. Henry Williams waiting near his 50. His gets to the outside once more. Gets a good block. He's down the sideline. Again, It's gone. Gotta love the Giz. 62 yards.
Well, the Giz has got some fabulous speed, and when he gets to the outside, pretty tough to catch. One key block in this whole punt return is coming up. Number 43, Jed Roberts, right here. Boom. There's the hit on number 22, Sean Foodie, and the rest is pretty much clear. Sailing for the Giz, a little cut right there, but any good kick return, often it's just one key block that sets you free, and Jed Roberts provided that for the Giz. Giz, go over and give him a pat on the back, as Jed Roberts made a nice play for you.
McErady is ready, and the Eskimos have 2 touchdowns. One by Henry Gizmo Williams. 67-yard touchdown. Now, how many punt return touchdowns do you figure this is for the Gizmo in Canadian football?
You're going to have to tell me, because I don't know.
Number 10, Lee.
Wow, what a great, unbelievable figure that is. Good move right there, but watch coming up. Here's Sean Foodie chasing him, and there's the key block right there. And then, of course, at the end, Terry Baker will get taken care of by Mark Mathis and Larry Ruck, and the Giz has number 10 on a pretty exciting career. That's the part I like. I like that flip at the end.
Rough Riders gave up another punt return touchdown last week, 94 yards to Mike Clemens.
Yeah, Baker had no chance. You can't expect your punter to make the tackle.
Get ready, because I'm getting hot.
This is Anthony Drawhorn on the return for Ottawa. Whoa! Good return for Drawhorn. Did he lose the ball partway through it? He got it back. 46 yards.
Interesting thing just happened on the bench, gentlemen. Ron Lancaster turned to Gizmo Williams and said, "See, I told you it'd work." What did he tell him? Go to one side, then come back to the other, and apparently Ottawa couldn't contain him, and that resulted in the touchdown. It's something they saw a little earlier in the first quarter.
First and 10, Ottawa.
I liked Gizmo's comment there just a moment ago. Get ready, Rocket, I'm getting hot. John Conjemi is in at quarterback and has a first down. Eddie Brown on the receiving end of Conjemi's first pass.
14-yard gain on the play for the Riders.
John Conjemi traded in the offseason by the Toronto Argonauts to the Ottawa Rough Riders for kicker Dean Dorsey. Dean Dorsey no longer in the league, but there is the fellow they call Ace. Heck of a golfer.
Not a bad quarterback given the opportunity either. Conjemi looking for Stephon Jones, and he's off target a little deep that time.
Stephon Jones is complete. Roy Bennett on the coverage for the Eskimos.
Not sure. Damon Allen took a pretty good shot from the toaster, Brett Williams, on that last series. He doesn't appear to be shaken up. Maybe Steve Goldman just feels it's time to let John Conjemi have a turn. John Conjemi did some great relief role work for the Argonauts last year, of course, when Matt Dunnigan was out and Ricky Foggy was hurt.
Goldman didn't have a lot of confidence in his backup quarterbacks last year, Ken Hobart and Tony Kimbrough.
That's a good point. He didn't.
Conjemi lost it, and a flag is down. And it looks like the Eskimos have the football.
Fumble on the play and flag down.
Legal procedure. Ottawa number 5 declined. First down, Edmonton.
James Ellingson. Maybe we can see it here.
Well, it's hard to see who the procedure was against, but Conjemi steps away from the center, does not have a handle on it, and the Edmonton Eskimos are the recipients of the first turnover of the ball game. Who's down?
Eskimos with the first down. They begin this drive on the 31 and lead 14-3. And this is Reggie Taylor by 4 white jerseys. Gain of 4, second and 6.
On the tackle for the Riders. About a 4-yard gain on that play for the Eskimos.
Well, the defense of the Ottawa Rough Riders improved greatly in 1990 over 89. They increased their pass rush, their sack totals, their interception totals, and this year they have to try and just take it one step further. And so far tonight, other than that one pass play to Ellis, has not played too badly.
Tracy Ham gets across the 40. A little slow in developing, but it seemed to work on the last play of the opening quarter. The Eskimos should have a first down. 14-3. Edmonton leading Ottawa. A great night for football at Commonwealth.
Edmonton, as you might expect, has the edge in total yards, but what doesn't show up on the statistics sheet there is the 62-yard punt return by Henry the Gizmo Williams. That's given the Eskimos the edge they hold now.
And this is third down, less than a yard to go, converted easily by the Eskimos at their own 41.
Tracy Ham keeps the ball for the first down, Eskimos.
Second quarter just nicely underway. Edmonton in front of Ottawa, 14-3. Ottawa missed a glorious opportunity to have a touchdown on first and goal to go from the 4.
First and 10, Eskimos, the ball on their own 42-yard line.
And settled for a field goal to end that drive. The Eskimos had one impressive drive and then the long punt return touchdown by Henry Williams. Here's Ham, and he's picked off. This is Anthony Drawhorn, and he's long gone. No flags anywhere. Drawhorn read it perfectly.
It's like he was in the huddle or something. Eh? And I mean, what happened?
36 yards, touchdown, and Ottawa is back in the game.
Well, Jordan Gardner is trying to run a quick slant from the trip side of this formation to your right side on the screen here, and I don't know, he either went the wrong way or Tracy went the wrong way and somebody missed an audible, but Anthony Drawhorn, it will not come much easier for him than that. And he has vindicated himself from that touchdown he gave up to Craig Ellis.
36-yard touchdown. Terry Baker set to try the extra points. And Baker is good. So it's 14-10.
He is taking that ball home with him.
It's my back. I got that one back.
Oh, you can have all your faces.
Well, Tracy Ham's trying to figure out exactly what happened. You know, oftentimes you can call an audible. They might miss it. He's throwing to a spot he expects his receiver to be at, and not only does he give up an interception for a touchdown, he takes a pretty good shot from number 45, Greg Stuman. So as we went to commercial, Anthony Drawhorn told you, I got that one back, baby. And what he means is the one he gave up to Craig Ellis is now evened out by that 46-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Riders are right back in it, trailing by 4.
He's reaching down for that oxygen mask. Now, come on, Anthony. It was only 46 yards. I mean, we're not talking 190-degree weather here.
It's a perfect night for a little jaunt, isn't it?
Sure.
Ready now for Terry Baker's kickoff. Craig Ellis calls for it at the 15. Decent return. He's out to the 35. Nifty little 20-yard play. The Eskimos begin at the 35.
Well, you talk about that pass play by Hammond. I mean, how can something like that happen? I remember we were playing the Western Final here at Clark Stadium, the old stadium here in Edmonton, and Ron Lancaster called an audible for Rhett Dawson. Rhett Dawson didn't hear it. Ronnie threw it right to Highball. Highball went the distance, and that cost us the game. So, I mean, things like that do happen.
First down, Edmonton. Ham. Gartner can't bring it in.
Tracy Ham's pass attempt to Jordan Gartner, incomplete. Jeff Braswell covering for
One of the new regular faces for the Eskimos is number 31, Jordan Gartner, out of the University of Saskatchewan.
Kind of a long shot to make this club, a fifth-round pick in 1990, and in the CFL draft, when you get past the third round, you're just hoping. So a fifth-rounder who has come through for them and become a starter.
Nobody open for Ham, and Gartner drops his second.
You know, that's tough. You're a young kid in your second year, and you're trying to make an impression. You've been given a starting job, and I'll tell you what, I know Ron Lancaster, and you keep dropping balls like this, you will not be a starter for very long. You've been given your opportunity. you have to make the best of it, and I think Tracy Ham will show you how he feels about it. I don't blame him. Especially after an interception. I mean, you want to try and reestablish some momentum, and 2 perfect passes that should have been caught.
3rd down, Edmonton. Ray McAreedy back at his 20. There's a flag down. Good kick by McAreedy. And this is Eddie Brown on the return. Another flag down there. Not much of a return for Eddie Brown.
Eddie Brown returning that kick. Hit by Willie Flett.
Willie
after
Flett
gain of about 4 yards.
leading the tacklers.
Flag on the play.
And Roy Bennett likely calling or drawing the penalty. But there was an infraction back at the line of scrimmage as well. Edmonton Eskimos winning last week, won in week 1, 34-25 over Saskatchewan, coming back from a 20-0 deficit in the first quarter. The Ottawa Rough Riders had their chances against the Toronto Argonauts in the early going, but 4 interceptions cost them the ball game.
Yeah, and a lot of them were in crucial territories, too, where they were in scoring situations. So that's the most frustrating thing for Steve Goldman. I mean, the encouraging part is he's getting his offense into scoring position. The frustrating part is they can't come through with the touchdown.
Long delay here as they sort out the penalties.
Well, I think they'll do it all over again when the dust settles here. Ken Lazarick will fill us in, I hope.
Ottawa, number 14 offside. No yards. Edmonton, number 22. 3rd down repeated, 10 yards back.
That wasn't Blake Marshall, I don't believe.
No, he got called unfairly there. It was Roy Bennett. Not that it really matters.
Yeah, better straighten things around.
Well, Blake might want us to straighten.
Yeah, I would think he would. Sure. McAreedy. Eddie Brown at the 35. Brown looks to get outside, and he is decked. Larry Ruck, number 47, great tackle. Underrated ball player.
Well, he's having himself a great first half, so after they move back 10 and kick it over again, I think, in fact, the Ottawa Rough Riders lose yardage. 50-yard punt by Ray McAreedy. Great hang time. -5 on the return, thanks to the great tackle by number 47, Larry Ruck.
Damon Allen is back in at quarterback. Jock Climby has his first catch of the night, had 1 reception, 24 yards last week.
It's funny, Jock Climby and I were talking in the hotel yesterday, and we were talking about the style of defense that he will see tonight playing against the Edmonton Secretary, and we both agreed that when he goes one-on-one with Stephen Jordan, it's going to be a very physical battle for him, and you can see right there that as he made the catch, Stephen Jordan was right there and delivered the hit, and Jock Climby's not feeling too good right now. I'm really interested to see how he performs. Jock Climby, much heralded draft pick from Queen's University to the Toronto Argonauts. They gave up on him, and Ottawa took him off the practice roster, and now he's getting a chance in his 2nd season as a pro to make a contribution to this Ottawa offense, and he really takes a whack.
His first start in Canadian football.
Yes, it is.
Right here tonight, Jock Climby, and I think he was just windedly.
His offensive receiver coach, Doug Sams, he and I were chatting about him, and he said, look, Jock's got great speed at 4'6", and he needs playing time to progress and work on his craft, but the only thing is, this is a tough secondary to work against. A lot of man coverage and a lot of hard work involved for him tonight.
Conrad on 2nd and 3, and he comes up a little bit short.
Gain of 3 yards on the play for Ottawa.
Or does he? Yes, just a tad, I believe. 3rd down, less than a yard to go, Ottawa. 14-10, Edmonton leading the way with 12-12 remaining till halftime.
3rd down and inches for the Riders on their 40.
So here come the Rough Riders on 3rd and inches. Allen is the quarterback. He'll keep himself. And that's the first down with no flags anywhere to be seen.
First down, Rough Riders.
Good surge by the offensive center and the two guards, Gerald Roper and Brian Ilbrin. Irv Damon, number 54, the center. Have a look here. It's his responsibility to create just enough push to allow Damon Allen to pick up those few inches. He does a nice job, and Ottawa keeps the drive going.
Damon Allen on first down, far side. Wilcox can't hang on. Couple of drop passes.
Damon Allen passes into Gerald Wilcox.
First by Wilcox tonight, but going the other way. Jordan Gardner dropped a couple.
Well, there's a great deal of pressure on the two Ottawa slot backs. Gerald Wilcox is in his third year, but didn't play a lot last year due to injuries. And, of course, Jock Climby is his first year starting. So two young slot backs, and, of course, they're going to make mistakes, but you'd like to think when they get their opportunities and the ball is right there, they'll hang on to it.
2nd and 10, Ottawa from the 41. Allen is down. Leroy Blue. Boy, that's a great name for a ball player, isn't it? Leroy Blue. Love it.
You know, he's going to blossom as an outstanding defensive player in this league. They have a defense set up for him to do a lot of blitzing, and you see the stunt. He comes all the way to the inside from the outside linebacking spot, and Mike Walker and Michel Bourgeot open up a nice lane for Leroy Blue to get the sack. Give the credit to the secondary. He wanted to go to Jock Climby. Enos Jackson had him all jammed up, so just a great defensive play all around.
Terry Baker's third down punt, fielded by Henry Williams, and another lane opens up for Williams. Baker tries to force him out. This is 2 in a row. No flags. Touchdown. Hang on. He lost the ball at the 5-yard line. And the play continues.
This is bizarre.
I thought he was into the end zone, and Sean Footy starts back. Stopped by Leroy Pless. Willie Pless makes the tackle on a weird, wonderful play at Commonwealth. Edmonton in front, 14-10. Reggie Barnes carrying for 7 yards. It'll be 2nd and 3 for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Boy, oh boy, what a weird and wonderful play just moments ago. Gizmo Williams got all the way down to the 5-yard line.
Well, I think if we can go long enough here right to the end, I think he thinks the 5-yard line is the goal line, and he kind of just relaxes and flips the ball. He says, he forgot to take it in. Can you believe it? Oh, no.
The Giz, he doesn't believe what happened to him. He was there in the clear, cooled out at the 5-yard line, had his second punt return touchdown of the night, and he casually flipped the ball at the 5.
You remember the night that Tony Gabriel was long gone, nobody around him, and he started running backwards into the end zone. I'll finish this in a second. He is wide open.
Here's David Conrad wide open, and he's down to the 10-yard line. So a big, big turnover, and the Ottawa Rough Riders are raring to capitalize on this.
All right. I think he thinks the 5-yard line is the goal line. He just casually flips it. He's getting ready to do that flip. You see, he's thinking about the flip.
Thinking about the flip.
Yeah, and he flipped the ball instead of doing the real flip. In Ottawa, I mean, you're talking 14-point turnaround here if they score.
Absolutely. A big turnaround here. Allen lost the ball from center. Second time that the Ottawa Rough Riders have had a great opportunity to score, and a little miscue with the quarterback. Now, Ronnie can't believe his misfortune.
He's seen a lot of stuff in a game and a half already, hasn't he? Punt returns for touchdown, kickoff returns against him for touchdowns, guys that should have had touchdowns.
Welcome back to the sideline.
Goodness. But, you know, Tony Gabriel, I was talking a few years ago, he used to turn around and run backwards into the end zone. Well, he was home and cooled. He turned around about the 10-yard line and was going backwards, and they caught him.
From the 12, second down. Too far for Stephon Jones. Oh, boy. Now, the Ottawa Rough Riders had a decent chance to have 2 more touchdowns on the scoreboard than they have right now.
Well,
First quarter, 2nd and goal from the 4.
And you could only say it so many times. It's just a tremendous lack of consistency. They get themselves in great opportunities to score and be in this ball game, and they just can't convert when they get down inside the other team's 20.
Terry Baker. And the field goal is good. 14-13 now as the Rough Riders have closed to within a point. Might well have had another touchdown, though. Welcome back to Commonwealth in Edmonton, a one-point ball game, and it's a wacky night here as the Eskimos open the 1991 CFL season at home. Henry Williams is ready to return again, and he'll not soon forget his previous punt return.
I'd kick it to him now. He's got to be tired.
Kick it right to him.
Yeah, he's got to be tired. I mean,
yeah, he ran all the way one way and then chased.
Yeah, he put the brakes on
all the way back.
Go back, yeah.
Category choice catchers for focus support. Scratch and win for more prizes than Edmonton has to steal.
Well, I think I noticed a couple more gray hairs on the head coach after that one. Craig Ellis. And a hole opens up the middle as Ellis gets out near the 40-yard line. Actually, likely across by a yard. 30-yard return, 64-yard kickoff.
Charles Gordon making the tackle for the Rough Riders.
Well, sometimes it's not a whole lot of fun playing those special teams, but when you get in and make the tackle, makes everything worthwhile. Sean Daniels, young running back with the Ottawa Rough Riders, working the special teams as all the backups do.
7:30 to go till halftime. The Eskimos begin with a first down just across the 40. Pressure on Ham. He got it away. Short of the first down. Craig Ellis comes up with the catch, however.
Complete for the Eskimos.
Patrick Wayne over to make the stop on Craig Ellis.
Well, he works against that zone so nicely. Craig Ellis has a great feel for finding the open spot, and Tracy Ham, a little bit of pressure, a little bit of trouble with that pressure coming. Ellis finds a nice spot. 2 times in his career, he's been over 100 yards in a season, receiving 106 last year and over 100 in 1985 with Saskatchewan when he led the league that year as well.
Gain of 8 for Ellis. This is 2nd and 2. Converted easily by Blake Marshall, who's out across midfield to the 55. Into Ottawa territory at the 53. Anthony Drawhorn stopping big Blake Marshall, and that's not always that easy to do, Lee.
And especially when you get some good blocks up front, too. Trevor Bowles, the right tackle, and Randy Ambrosi, the right guard, did a nice job. And boy, you get big Blake Marshall at 230 pounds coming in behind those guys, and that's pretty tough.
Edmonton leading 14-13. Another Eskimo first down at the Ottawa 54. Quickly for Ellis. Got away from one. He's out to the 50.
You know, that's just a special chemistry that a receiver and a quarterback have together. Craig Ellis sees the safety blitz coming. Daniel Hunter, the inside safety, blitzes. Ellis knows that Scott Flagel will be coming over to cover him. He has to run a quick slant. Tracy Ham reads it. I mean, you cannot execute offense any better. Now, they only gain about 4.5, but it's a positive play.
This is 2nd and 6, and another first down for the Eskimos. Christian Mazzotti, number 75, gets his first catch of the night.
A 22-yard gain on the play. First down.
2nd-round draft pick in this past season's draft, and you see what happens. Jordan Gardner dropped a couple of balls in a row, and he gets the hook, and Christian Mazzotti, number 75, brother of Paul Mazzotti, the Argonauts, gets his chance, and he makes the play.
And 22 yards the gain for the Eskimos on first down. Ham decides to run and grabs a couple of yards. Jeff Braswell was there for the tackle.
Jeff Braswell making the tackle for the Riders.
Okay, the matchup we're following tonight, Trevor Bowles against Greg Stuman, and Trevor Bowles has a great angle on Stuman, and look at the size of Bowles. He's so mammoth that very difficult for Stuman to get around on. That's the matchup we will follow for you tonight.
On 2nd down, Stuman comes up with a tackle on Tracy Ham.
7-yard gain on the play for the Eskimos.
So it'll be 3rd down. with 4:28 to go till halftime. It's a long yard lead. Third and a long yard.
Well, you know that Ron Lancaster has to feel pretty comfortable with that short yardage offense that he has, and I think it's a good gamble.
Blake Marshall has the first down and could score. Blake Marshall, touchdown. 19 yards.
I guess it was
great call. What a great call, huh?
Great. You know, this is the tough thing about Greg Marshall. He's just so powerful. His thighs are huge, and he runs low to the ground. His center of gravity. Watch 51 Braswell. Now, he has a chance right there, but an arm tackle will not bring down a Greg Marshall, and he has his first touchdown of the night, third touchdown already this season.
Had a couple of short ones last week against Saskatchewan. This for 19 yards, and the Eskimos back in control at 20-13. Make that 21-13. All right, the power of Blake Marshall.
Well, and also the finesse. He takes it right there. He's following Randy Ambrosie, and, you know, he still has the quickness for a big man to break it to the outside and then break another tackle by Scott Flagel to get into the end zone. And, boy, what can you say? That is just a spectacular run. He led the league in rushing touchdowns last year with 12. Already in 2 games now he has 3, so he's on a tremendous pace.
Well, Flagel had the right idea, great effort, but he was about a yard late.
Hey, Ryan. Good job.
21-13, the Eskimos in front of the Ottawa Rough Riders, kicking off week 2 in the Canadian Football League. McAreedy's kickoff to Anthony Drawhorn.
Better get on it.
He had some difficulty coming up with the ball. The Eskimos indicate they have recovered. We'll wait and see. No, hang on. It's Ottawa football, but no return.
Eddie Brown was waiting for that AstroTurf kind of bounce, but on the grass field, the only one left in the Canadian Football League, it just didn't come up for him.
The Riders recover that kick out.
Well, there's Randy Ambrosie, and he's done some outstanding blocking in the first 2 games for the Edmonton Eskimos this year. Had a great week last week, trap blocking that front four of Saskatchewan, and now tonight doing a good job as well.
Eddie Brown dropped the ball. Boy, what could have been.
Mark Mathis on the coverage for the Eskimos.
Yards, and Blake Marshall caps it off on 3rd down from 19 yards out to give the Eskimos an 8-point lead.
21-13. Edmonton. Ottawa 2nd and 10. Back at the Rough Riders 31. Allen hit as he throws. That one wobbled a little bit. Willie Pless. Right on top of Damon Allen as he fired the ball.
Willie Pless applying the
Did I call him Leroy earlier tonight?
You did?
It's Willie Pless.
Well,
I did correct it earlier, but
he won't be mad at you. This is the thing that I like about the 3-4 defense that Edmonton has. Of course, you know, the 3 down linemen are coming all the time, but they have so many different looks on those blitzes that the blocking schemes are just totally destroyed. And Willie Pless came through. Larry Ruck's come through clear tonight.
Henry Williams starting out on another return. Baker can't slow. Yes, he does. Baker slowed him down and knocked the ball loose. Riders special teams leaving it up to Baker a time or 2 tonight. Here comes the Giz once more.
Well, another great block right there by 43 Jed Roberts again. He sprung the Giz loose earlier on his touchdown, and boy, gets him outside the corner. Terry Baker has to make the play, and you don't like your punter to have to make the play time after time, and that's been the case tonight.
40-yard return set up on a great block by Jed Roberts.
Jed Roberts, son of Jay Roberts, former tight end with the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Great field position for the Eskimos beginning at the Ottawa 39. Here's Ham. He's on target. David Williams. First catch of the night for David Williams. The Eskimos leading 21-13 and in good shape here.
Home game through this 1990.
Last year, a very difficult year for the Edmonton Eskimos. A lot of turmoil on the club. They didn't have finish off the way they like to. Tracy Ham discussed his feelings about last season.
I think the biggest difference is just the attitude and of the team. You know, we got a few different players in here. The spirit is a lot better around the club, and it's just a much easier going club. You know, we don't have that. Thus far, we don't have any negative things to say. I know it's only one game deep in the season, but it's a good start to have that kind of feeling as you start out.
I think the new regime has something to do with it, too. A character builder last week at Taylor Field in Regina after falling behind 20-0, and the Eskimos are out to make this season a little better than last and return to the class act that this franchise was in Canadian football for so many years.
Well, I can tell you the difference is certainly a low-key approach by Ron Lancaster, but make no mistake, a no-nonsense approach. He will not put up with any shenanigans. Players will be gone if that's the case, and I think everybody found that out in a hurry. Different attitude on this ball club.
Jeff Braswell found out in a hurry. He was gone.
He got the airline ticket in about 20 seconds.
All right. Second down. And 2. The Eskimos at the Ottawa 31, and Blake Marshall converts another first down, still standing, and it takes a couple to bring Marshall down at the 12. 18 yards for Marshall.
Well, you know, earlier tonight he's been getting good blocking, and that time he pretty much did it on his own. Brian Bonner had a shot at him, but I mean, he is just a bull in the china shop tonight. They just can't bring him down. He's possessed.
2:24 till halftime. It's 21-13 Edmonton, and the Eskimos are first and 10 at the Ottawa 12. Ham, deck, Glenn Kulka, number 68.
Well, that's the kind of pass pattern that needs good protection for the quarterback. When you pump fake and you're running an out and up, you need that extra split second, and Glenn Kulka comes in and gets a free shot on Tracy Ham. Watch that. Ham takes a great shot there. Kulka signed last year as a free agent from the Toronto Argonauts, and boy, when you sign a free agent and he can play all 18 games for you, it makes it really worthwhile, and that's what Glenn was able to do.
Loss of 5, second and 15 Edmonton. Kulka is in again, and this time he's a little late. Touchdown, Jim Sandusky. Kulka about one step away from getting to Ham 2 plays in a row.
Now, how many guys throughout the league have said that throughout their career when they've chased Tracy Ham?
Well, that is a mismatch. Kulka against Ham trying to run him down in the open field.
Well, you know, in all fairness, I mean, the big problem was Kulka letting him get to the outside initially, and Tracy Ham so good at throwing on the run. Jim Sandusky, a veteran receiver. Andre Francis, great one-on-one corner, but with that kind of time, he just could not stay with Sandusky. And wow, what a huge touchdown he had last week against Saskatchewan. Got them back in that game, and now tonight another beauty.
A miscue there as Tracy Ham goes after a 2-point conversion. Or was that a design play? Drawhorn makes the stop.
That's good tackle by Drawhorn.
Was that designed, or did they bobble the snap?
We'll have to check the replay.
27-13, the Eskimos in front. Let's watch once more.
I would have to think it. I don't know.
I can't tell you if that was designed or not. Looked like the snap was good initially.
Anyway, they didn't get any points.
No.
That's the long and short of it.
But they have it up right now, 27-13.
For a while. Well, we talked about Greg Stuman and the fact that he would have to put some pressure on the quarterback tonight. He comes from all the way on the backside, and he just can't quite get there either. I mean, that's a tall order. You get let Tracy Ham break containment, and there are not too many guys around the league that will chase him down.
For the Eskimos to be successful, Tracy Ham has to run with the football, and obviously he passed on that play, but his running ability sets up the pass, and
couldn't agree with you more.
Ray Reggie Barnes on the return for Ottawa. The Riders out near the 40-yard line. Rob Davidson made the stop.
You know, Edmonton won that game last week in Regina, and it was a nice comeback and all of that, but I don't think they played with the intensity that it seems like they're playing with tonight. I know that's a real pet peeve of Coach Lancaster. He expects intensity from his ball club, and this first half, I mean, they have been flying around. They have been hitting anybody that moved that's in a white jersey. You have to be impressed with the emotional level they brought their game to tonight.
First down, Ottawa. Gerald Wilcox, and he makes the catch. Let's see where they spot the ball. He's very close to a first down.
David Allen with the pass
Jordan
to Gerald Wilcox for the Riders.
Made the stop on Gerald Wilcox.
About a 10-yard gain for the Riders.
It is the first down on a 10-yard gain. First catch of the night for Wilcox.
They need him to mature in a hurry. He's a great target at 6'2" and 215, but just lacks the game experience, and he's going to get a lot of it this year, and hopefully he can mature for them.
Damon Allen slides under at the 50 on first down. Michel Bourgeot was there stopping Allen's progress.
Michel Bourgeot and Stephen Jordan making the tackle.
Well, once again, pressure, but a pretty good pocket formed by the Ottawa Rough Rider offensive line, and no receivers open again downfield. Kind of like the Hamilton game last week. They had great difficulty getting open against that Winnipeg secondary. I see the same scenario occurring here tonight.
2nd and 8. The Rough Riders get a first down. Jock Climby, number 81.
Allen's pass complete to Jock Climby for the Riders.
For Climby.
He ran a good pattern against number 11, Stephon Jordan. Took him straight upfield, maybe a little push off, and broke to the outside.
Oh, really?
It's a touch. Jock's learned in a hurry.
1:05 to go till halftime.
I told him that today. I said, when those guys give you a tough time jamming you, you push off.
First down, Ottawa. Allen looks deep. And the intended receiver, Eddie Brown, nowhere near the ball.
Mark Mathis right on the hip of Eddie Brown. Mathis mostly played the inside safety spot for the Eskimos last year, but before the season started, they released their two corners, Andre Francis and Keith Gooch, so that meant that Mark Mathis moved to the outside, and he's looked pretty good in his second game so far this season.
2nd and 10, Ottawa. The Edmonton 48. Allen for Wilcox, and it's over his head.
Damon Allen with the pass attempt to Gerald Wilcox.
Third down.
Stephen Jordan covering.
49 seconds till the half.
Makes it 3rd and 10, right?
Ottawa settling for a couple of field goals when touchdowns seem very possible. 1st and goal to go from the 4 in the first quarter, and 2nd and goal to go from the 10 in the second. Allen calls for a timeout.
Ottawa opened the scoring in this football game. Terry Baker's 12-yard field goal made it 3-0, but Edmonton came right back as Tracy Ham hooked up with Craig Ellis from 29 yards out to make it 7-3. And then the gizmo, Henry Williams, who has played a prominent role tonight with the 62-yard punt return, made it 14-3 in favor of Edmonton. But then Tracy Ham intercepted by Anthony Drawhorn, and suddenly it's 14-10. But since then, Edmonton's kind of pulled away. Since the Terry Baker field goal made it 14-13, Blake Marshall on 3rd down went 19 yards to make it 21-13, and then Ham scrambled and found Jim Sandusky to make it what it is now, 27-13 Edmonton.
Ottawa Rough Riders gambling on 3rd down. Stephon Jones can't come down with it. Roy Bennett was covering on Jones, and the gamble does not pay off, but not a bad call with 43 seconds left to go.
Not a bad call. Good pressure once again, though, from the Edmonton front seven. Larry Ruck with the hit, and Damon Allen had to throw the football before the receiver was ready. Really no chance to complete that pass, but, you know, 43 seconds left from their own 48-yard line. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tracy Ham get it down at least field goal range with not a great deal of difficulty.
Reggie Taylor has a couple out across the 50.
Reggie Taylor, the ball carrier for the Eskimos.
39 seconds to go. Brian Bonner, the new Ottawa linebacker, number 90, stopping Taylor that time.
2nd and 8 from the Eskimos 15.
2nd and 8. And Ham gets it away, but it's knocked down. Good play by Anthony Drawhorn, number 7.
Tracy Ham with the pass attempt to
Stuman supplying some pressure.
Anthony Drawhorn.
Stuman had him by the ankle. He couldn't get him down, but he did enough to disrupt it. And Anthony Drawhorn with a nice defensive play. Greg Stuman, well, you know, he paid Trevor Bowles a compliment that Bowles worked hard on every play for 60 minutes. Greg Stuman is also that kind of player, and although he didn't get the sack, he did enough damage to make that pass go awry.
30 seconds to go till halftime, with Edmonton leading 27-13. Third down, Eskimos. McAreedy set to kick it away as he steps across the 40. Good punt. Eddie Brown on the return for Ottawa. He heads for the sideline. There's a flag down. Penalty marker on the field. 14-yard return for Brown with 20 seconds to go to the half.
Legal block, Ottawa number 22. First down, Ottawa.
Sean Foodie with the illegal block. Now 20 seconds facing Steve Goldman. Are there any trick plays in the old book, Leaf, that he might pull out here?
Well, I'm sure there are the odd trick play, but I think from your own 15-yard line, you might be wise to just decide to go into the locker room trailing by 14.
No trick as Reggie Barnes carries.
Danny Bass the tackle for the Eskimos. Gain of 6 yards on the play for the Riders.
Now 16 seconds as the clock ticks down.
4 with the ball on their own 21-yard line.
Gain of 6, 2nd and 4, but not much time left. This should be the last play of the opening half. Barnes once more. And it matters little as Larry Ruck makes the tackle. Lancaster leads 27-13 at the half. The Ottawa Rough Riders could have been a little closer if they could move the football inside the 10-yard line.
One of these nights they're going to put it all together, and Steve Goldman will be a happy man when they get into scoring position. They're going to get 7s instead of 3s.
And how about the wacky play by Henry Williams where he dropped a certain touchdown?
That will make some blooper films this week, no doubt.
Absolutely. He was all alone at the 5.
Halftime at Commonwealth Stadium, where the Edmonton Eskimos lead the Ottawa Rough Riders 27-13 after 30 minutes of play. In their playing days, Hugh Campbell and Normie Kwong were both Hall of Fame caliber players. Now they're still active in football in an advisory capacity and an administrative capacity as Alberta's CFL general managers.
Beating the BC Lions.
The recipe for success in the Canadian Football League is quite simple. First, you need great players, skilled players with physical and mental toughness. You also need intelligent and even-tempered coaches, men who can get the most out of their players. But perhaps the most important ingredient is an astute general manager. After all, he not only hires the head coach and finds the players, but in many cases runs the business side of the football club as well.
The main thing is the motivation and supervisory role. I mean, to me, you're counting on a team, not just the players, but an office staff, a team of people, and trying to get them to perform at the highest possible level.
The other general manager in the province of Alberta is Normie Kwong of the Calgary Stampeders. Unlike Hugh Campbell and Winnipeg's Cal Murphy, who run both the football and business side of the organization, Kwong, like Ottawa's Joanne Polak, limits his contributions to non-football administration.
It is a major job now to do all the things involved in running a franchise. I believe that most teams have somebody designated as the football operations person, and in our particular case, that's the coach, Wally Bono. Wally and I, of course, converse a great deal on players who he's very high on, who if I think along the same lines, and also what salary ranges they fit in.
Like any manager, a CFL GM must be able to make the difficult and sometimes unpopular decisions.
one way or the other in the bottom line, you've got to be tough. Like somewhere somebody has to say no to some of the items that people want to do budget-wise, and somebody has to say yes to some of the bold ideas that your creative people have in ways of marketing the team or in just providing a good product on the field.
The most important thing as far as football goes is building the salary structure that suits the players, one that they're most satisfied with, one that keeps the most players happy and willing to put out their best efforts.
Edmonton leads by a pair of touchdowns after 30 minutes of play here at Commonwealth Stadium. Well, that first half had a little bit of everything, and to talk about it, let's go upstairs now to John Wells and Leif Pedersen.
All right, Gord, I certainly enjoyed the first half for its little bit of everything. I'm not so sure the coaches enjoyed that first half of football.
A lot of stuff happening out there. I mean, we got guys dropping balls. We got interceptions for touchdowns and punt returns that should be touchdowns that aren't touchdowns. I mean, a lot of things are happening tonight.
So where do we pick it up on the highlight reel?
Well, I think we're going to start with Craig Ellis, and he has had an unbelievable career, and the features I like about this play are the airtime that Tracy Ham puts on that football, and of course the speed that Ellis has to get away from Drawhorn. Early 7-zip lead.
Enter the Giz. Punt return TD coming up.
Well, you pointed this out to our viewers. This is the 10th time he has done this in his career, and he has got the great speed to set it up and get to the outside. Jed Roberts, the newcomer linebacker for the club, got a great block for him, and then they kind of wipe out Terry Baker at the end, and 62 yards later, the Giz has the punt return for the touchdown with the added gymnastics at the end.
That might cost him a little bit later, but we'll get to that in a moment. Easiest touchdown Anthony Drawhorn will ever score.
Yeah, you know, I think he was probably the most surprised guy in the park when somebody went the wrong way, and there was the football sitting right in front of him, and 46 yards later, he didn't even have to run very hard here, but he got Ottawa back into the game, vindicated himself for the touchdown that Ellis got out of him.
Now, the Giz once more, and this is an unbelievable play.
Well, folks, if you joined us just at halftime, now watch this one. Second time that Henry the Gizmo Williams should score on a punt return tonight, and watch what happens. The 5-yard line comes up. I think Henry thinks it's the end zone. He's going to flip the ball down. You don't think he was thinking about that flip he was going to do.
That's what I kind of think. Getting ready. Oops. Turn around, Henry. Now we go back the other way.
Now, it gets a little more bizarre as the guys just got a little tired out running all around the field. Cost Edmonton 7, and Ottawa ended up getting 3, so a 10-point turnaround on a goofy play.
Yeah, Sean Flutie returned it 67 yards the other way, and Ottawa had a chance for a touchdown, settled for a field goal. Just a little bit of everything here.
But a fun first half.
With the Eskimos in front, 27-13. Gord?
All right, thanks very much, guys. It was a great first half of play. We look forward to a great second half, and it's coming up next. You're watching the CFL Game of the Week live on TSN.
To begin the second half at Commonwealth in Edmonton, the Rough Riders set to kick off, trailing the Eskimos by 14. It's 27-13. Terry Baker. And Henry Williams has it again. This time the Riders read his mind and stop him. How about the 37? Interesting first half.
Certainly was, gentlemen, especially with Edmonton holding the edge in total yards, 211 to 141, and net yards, 194 to 133. But special teams, a big part of the story in the first half, and of course Gizmo Williams was a big part of that story. He told me on his way off the field the reason he dropped that ball near the end zone, he's wearing new shoulder pads. He couldn't feel the ball. In fact, he didn't know until he got to the end zone that he'd dropped the biscuit.
Well, hey, Gord, I got some land in Florida I want you to have a look at, I'll tell you.
I think the Giz has thought up the story there.
Yeah.
Made things exciting here tonight. This is Reggie Taylor. And he's forced out inside Ottawa territory at about the 53.
The ball carrier for the Eskimos. Steps out of bounds.
Reggie Taylor, an All-Canadian in 1989 last year. Only 12 games. Had a knee injury, missed the last part of the season, the playoffs and the Grey Cup. But he is back. He is running as strong as ever. Would like to get back to that form he showed in 1989.
20 yards for Reggie there. First and 10 for the Eskimos here at the Ottawa 54. Blake Marshall, maybe one.
Blake Marshall, the ball carrier for the Eskimos.
first time they've handled him tonight. Patrick Wayne, who I think really came into his own last year, his first full year starting at the linebacking spot for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
A gain of 1. This is 2nd and 9 Edmonton. The Ottawa 53. Drawhorn from behind, but Ham gets it away. No catch. Sandusky was the intended receiver. 8 new faces on this 1991 Edmonton Eskimo team, but only 1 raw rookie, which is interesting. They've made some changes, but they found some veterans.
3rd and 9 Eskimos on the
Well, I guess it's easier said than done because Greg Stuman, who's one of the best, loses containment, and Tracy Ham gets to the outside where he's so dangerous. And you know, coaches preach against a running quarterback. You want to try and contain him, keep him in the pocket, but Ottawa really hasn't been able to do so tonight.
The Rider defense holds. Ray McAreedy set the kick.
He's had a good night punting.
He has.
Lots of hang time on his kicks. Oh, that's another good one.
Another sky-high kick. And on the return, Eddie Brown hasn't had a great deal of success until now. Danny Bass over to make the tackle. Stay tuned right after the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Delta Faucet Canada, Canada's leading manufacturer of superior plumbing products that bring water to life with exciting new products to make life easier in the kitchen or the bathroom. Delta, the way water is brought to life. First down, Ottawa. From the 22, Reggie Barnes.
Reggie Barnes, the ball carrier for the Riders. 8-yard gain on the play.
Nifty little gain for Reggie. It'll be 2nd and 2.
Well, we told you before, Reggie Barnes, the only running back in the CFL to gain over 100 yards in a ball game against the Eskimos last year. Ottawa trailing by 14 points here in the 3rd quarter. The running game would be very nice if we could put something together in that department.
Barnes on 2nd and 2. I don't think he made it, Leaf.
Brett Williams, Michelle Bourgeau, and Larry Wright. Backing him up for the Eskimos.
Boy, in those 2nd and 3 situations, that 3-4 alignment turns into a front 7 alignment in a hurry. Though Danny Bass and Willie Pless snug up right on that line of scrimmage, and that time they did a good job stuffing Reggie Barnes. In fact, such a good job that Steve Goldman won't even consider gambling.
Steve Goldman in his 3rd year coaching the Ottawa Rough Riders. In terms of continuous service, he's the 2nd longest serving coach in Canadian football, behind only John Gregory with the same team. Terry Baker, 3rd down. Low kick this time. Bouncing at the 40. Gizmo has it at the 34. Lost the ball. Rough Riders have recovered. A turnover going against the Gizmo. Jock Climby, number 81. Angelo Sipes coming up with the football. Well, Ron Lancaster doesn't like what he sees here from the Gizmo. Another turnover.
No question, he's exciting, but here cannot hang on to the football. He is stripped. Daniel Hunter, 27, strips the ball loose. Angelo Snipes, a reserve linebacker, comes up with the recovery, and the Ottawa Rough Riders get a huge break, trailing by 14. And boy, this is where the good teams make some things happen to get themselves back in a ball game. And we'll see if Ottawa can take advantage of this opportunity. Angelo Snipes inserted into the lineup tonight because Steve Goldman, quite frankly, felt his middle linebacker, Jeff Braswell, was not in good enough shape to play 4 quarters. So to take care of that possibility that he got winded, Angelo Snipes finds himself in the lineup tonight and may replace Braswell at some point.
Well, it's been an interesting night for Henry Williams. 1 punt return touchdown. He looked great. Then he bobbled the ball at the 5-yard line when he was home and cooled out.
Wouldn't be those new shoulder pads giving him all that problems, would it?
Willie Pless shaken up, but he's off under his own power now. Let's see what the Ottawa Rough Riders can do. Trailing 27-13. First down, Ottawa. The Edmonton 42 after the turnover. Wide open, far side. And Damon Allen has his man. Stephon Jones.
Well, he waited a long time to make his first reception of the evening. almost 4 minutes into the third quarter, but Stephon Jones with a nice pass pattern on Roy Bennett. We're going to have a look at here. Roy Bennett, one of the good one-on-one corners in the league. Stephon Jones, nothing pretty, just what they call a speed break to the outside. Damon Allen right on target.
First down, Ottawa. Allen has them moving now. Jock Climby steps out after making the catch in front of Stephen Jordan.
Well, for some reason on this drive, the Edmonton defensive backs are giving the Ottawa receivers a little more room and a little easier time to come off the line of scrimmage. That time, Jock Climby was not harassed at all as he left the line of scrimmage and ran a nice pattern, made a good catch, and Damon Allen with back-to-back first downs after that fumble recovery.
Ottawa, first down from the Edmonton 18. And another reception short of the first down this time. Eddie Brown. Out of Iowa State, first year with the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Spent part of last season with the Calgary Stampeders, so not really a new face to the Canadian Football League.
He has 4. This is 2nd and 6, Ottawa. To the far side, no catch. Boy. Gerald Wilcox couldn't bring it in.
As you see them working on Willie Pless on the sidelines, the doctors say that he has a slightly twisted knee, and Dr. Boris Boyko, who is working on him now, says that he'll likely be out a couple of series. They hope it won't be more than that, but Pless is in some discomfort right now.
So a 21-yard field goal try now for Terry Baker. Ottawa has been inside Edmonton territory a couple of times. 3 to be exact, deep in Edmonton territory, and field goals have been the order of the day for the offense. One more for Terry Baker with 11:04 to play. Third quarter. If the Rough Riders narrow the gap a touch, it is now 27-16.
Well, Jeff Braswell, no doubt, has had an interesting career with the BC Lions, Edmonton Eskimos, and now the Ottawa Rough Riders. He talked about the way he plays.
Well, you know, it's the name of the game, football. You know, in hockey they fight all day. We fight in football. They think you're a dirty guy, but you know, the referees let you fight in hockey. They don't want it, and the people don't understand fighting in football. But you know, it's a battle for 60 minutes, and each play is an individual battle. And even though it's a team sport, you have to do your job first, and I think that you know, football was meant to be played like the way it's played, so I'm not complaining about it.
I didn't know they had a big hockey program at Iowa State.
I'm not sure they do, but guess Don Cherry would be proud of that.
I would think so. Craig Ellis, hands off on the reverse. Enos Jackson, number 29, comes to the near side. Flags are down. Wilcox drags him down from behind.
Craig Ellis returning that kick. Handing off to Enos Jackson.
I like this call.
Yeah, some trickery. Craig Ellis hands off to Enos Jackson, peels back around, and really did not fool the Ottawa cover team. They all stayed in their lanes and did a pretty good job reacting to the reverse.
First down, Edmonton.
Well, Mr. Braswell's been kind of on the quiet side tonight. Hasn't been any altercations. A lot of build-up here, and nothing's happened.
Yes, but there's a long way to go. 10:46 to play, third quarter. Edmonton leading 27-16. The Eskimos begin at their 15 with a first down. Reggie Taylor, and Taylor has room and speed as he's out to the 40-yard line, but there is a penalty marker down.
Reggie Taylor, the ball carrier.
26 yards for Taylor.
Flags are
nice
down
run.
on the play. Greg Stuman making the tackle for the Riders.
Offside, Ottawa number 51, declined. First down, Edmonton.
Well, when you look, sorry, John, when you look at Reggie Taylor's college career at the University of Cincinnati, 3 times, his last 3 years, he rushed for over 1,000 yards, and boy, he's been able to carry that right on into the pro game. Last year should have been over 1,000 had he stayed healthy, but this year, no reason why he can't do it again.
On first down, Ham intended it for Masadi, and it was into the turf. Ron Lancaster's last game as a professional quarterback right here at Commonwealth Stadium back in 1978.
Second and 10, Eskimos on their own 40.
He was injured that year and didn't even start that night, but got a great ovation. when he was introduced and came into the game in the fourth quarter.
Boy, bitter rivalry in those years with Saskatchewan and Edmonton.
2nd and 10 Eskimos. Ham escapes. He has the first down. Another penalty marker down as Ham crosses the 55.
Blake Marshall and Patrick Wayne were involved in a tug of war over on the sidelines. A flag was thrown, and I think Blake Marshall is going to be the recipient of that one.
Holding the indication from referee Ken Lazarick. 27-16, the Eskimos leading the Rough Riders. Great night for football at Commonwealth.
Beautiful.
You weren't saying that just before game time when the storm clouds were
holding. Edmonton number 22 after the first down made. First down, Edmonton.
Storm clouds all around this stadium.
I thought Dorothy was coming in from Kansas any second.
1st and 10 Eskimos.
1st and 10 Eskimos.
From the 41. Ham swings it to Taylor coming out of the backfield, and that was well read by the Ottawa Rough Rider defense. In particular, Mr. Hunter.
Brian Butter and Jeff.
Now the matchup we're following tonight, Greg Stuman and Trevor Bowles. And so far tonight, I would think Trevor Bowles has been winning most of the occasions. We'll check in on them and see how they did. Greg didn't get a sniff. Good job by Trevor Bowles.
Tracy Ham, 2nd and 6. He has a first down to Jim Sandusky. Sandusky not all that quick, but he is sneaky out there.
Well, I mentioned this last week. You know, he spent 2 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks, and although he didn't play a lot, he got to work with one of the great receivers of all time, Steve Largent, and Jim Sandusky felt that experience was invaluable to him, and you saw right there how he worked Lance Shields, turned him right around, worked back to the quarterback. You cannot run a hook any better than that.
First down, Edmonton. And this is David Williams on the receiving end of a Tracy Ham pass. Stopped by Jeff Braswell.
Braswell gave him a little extra twist at the end, and David Williams objected to that, but nice catch and run. Got a block downfield from Reggie Taylor, and once again, the Edmonton offense is completely in sync here in the third quarter.
8:34 remaining in the third. The Eskimos with a first down after a 21-yard gain by David Williams from the 31. Reggie Taylor,
the ball carrier for the Eskimos.
And he is inside the 25.
Brian
by linebacker Brian Bonner.
2nd and 5.
5 yards to gain.
You know, periodically the Eskimos are going to their hurry-up offense, and they're in that right now. It's strictly a call from Tracy Ham. When he feels like they have the momentum and he can keep the defense off balance, it's his call to go to that style.
2nd and 5. Ham and the Eskimos. Sandusky can't bring it in.
Tracy Ham's pass attempt to Jim Sandusky is complete.
Good coverage that time by Lance Shields. Lance Shields on a Grey Cup team with the Ticats back in 1986. Greg Stuman's had a pretty tough night. Trevor Bowles has done a good job on him. Now he's to the wide side of the field, and 22 Greg Marshall, the fullback, does an excellent job keeping him from getting to the quarterback. Blake Marshall, I call him Greg.
Well, Greg used to play here.
Brother Greg.
Same school, too. Western.
Preceded younger brother Blake. Honest mistake.
Here's Ray McAreedy. From 32 yards away, Ham gets it down. McAreedy gets it up, and it's good. McAreedy had a bit of a tough week last week, 2 of 5, but he's on target here tonight, and the Eskimos lead 30-16. Live from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, the Eskimos and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Edmonton looking very lovely on this July evening. .17 to play, third quarter. The Eskimos in front, 30-16. Ottawa Rough Riders with just 1 touchdown so far tonight on an interception return by Anthony Drawhorn. Good routines down there on the sideline.
Yeah, they look good.
Well, there's Don Metz, our ace cameraman, high on top of Commonwealth Stadium. And there's the view he has, taking us right back to the kickoff. Great camera work, Metzy.
Eskimo fullback years ago, who said welcome to over 100 big toppers something up from Remax Realty at tonight's game.
Ready for the Eskimo kickoff. And Ray McAreedy. Bouncing by Stephon Jones. Finds a little gap, but not much of a return. Rough Riders have not had great field position
Stephon Jones with a
most of the night.
return off that kick for the Riders.
They'll begin this drive on a 6-yard return back at the 20.
Well, I think the thing that Steve Goldman stressed so much yesterday was the fact that they just squandered too many offensive opportunities. And tonight, 3 times, they have been in what we call the red zone, inside the other team's 20. Now, they've had to settle for 3 field goals. Now, have they had 3 touchdowns, that would be an extra 12 points. It would be 30-28, and we'd be in a tight ball game. So those squandered opportunities really haunt the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Here's Damon Allen on first down. Looks deep, and he looked too deep. Intending that for Jock Climby, number 81.
Jock Climby incomplete. Jim Rockford covering for the Eskimos on the play. 2nd and 10.
Damon Allen's $220,000 contract expires at the end of this season, so I'm sure as he plays each game, he is thinking about that his performance will dictate what kind of money will be available to him next year.
Far side.
Great catch.
Stephon Jones, wow. Number 89. One-handed it.
Yeah, that thing just stuck up in that right hand. I watched him in the warm-up, you know, and he was working on making some of these catches, and boy, it really pays off here as he goes to the outside. Watch the right hand. That ball just sticks in there. That's a spectacular catch, and those are the kind of plays that when you're behind and struggling, you have to make, and he's the best receiver they have.
17 yards for Stephon Jones. First down for the Ottawa Rough Riders at the 37. Allen swings it out. Sean Daniels, number 34, was the intended receiver.
I really like to see Damon Allen go to some 3-man patterns where he clears out with a wide receiver, sends the slot back on a medium distance route, and then puts that back in the backfield. Now, if Edmonton wants to blitz a linebacker, you hit that back quickly, and you have some room to get him downfield.
This is 2nd and 10. Eddie Brown intended receiver.
Edmonton's really having no problem covering the 2-man patterns to each side of the field. If you sneak that 3rd back out in the flat, I think Ottawa would find themselves having a little more success.
Right now it is 3rd down for the Rough Riders, trailing 30-16. Here's Terry Baker, back at his 22. Good kick for Baker. Henry Williams away from the first wave, but they have him well covered this time.
Here's Paul Williams with a 9-yard
Rob Rodanovic leading the Ottawa tacklers.
Brett Lewis making the tackle for the Riders.
What was the first play to pass? He didn't get up. But you hear it ball, okay?
1st and 10 Eskimos with the ball on.
Well, they're still speaking to each other.
Well, they may decide each other's fate, you know, like Steve Goldman brought him from Edmonton when he came, and their contracts both expire at the end of this season, so I'm sure that the fate of both of their careers kind of lie with each other.
You might be right. On first down, number 40, Blake Marshall has 5.
Scott Flagel with the tackle for the Riders.
Didn't quite get up a full head of steam that time, but he got 5 yards. It was tough to bring down.
Yeah, he's gotten off to a great start in 91 here. Get a score here before the half, okay?
Well, that's a simple game plan, isn't it? Score here before the half. 4:49.
I think we passed the half,
yeah,
though.
I think he's talking about the quarter anyway.
Yeah.
There's 4:49 to go, 3rd quarter. Ham escapes and has the first down on 2nd and 5.
Not surprising that Steve Goldman might get that wrong. I mean, coaches often in the heat of the battle, I mean, they don't, you ask them what day it was, and they wouldn't have a clue.
to 10 asks from their own 51-yard line.
Mark Mathis. First down, Edmonton from the 51. Ham with time, looks deep for Williams, and he went too far.
Tracy Ham's pass attempt to David Williams is complete. Charles Gordon on the cover.
Charles Gordon was covering in a slight sprinkle at Commonwealth.
Second and 10.
Well, let's have a look at David Williams, and this is the pattern he likes to run best, just straight down the field and not only use his height to shield off a receiver, but use his great speed to get away. But Lance Shields equal to the task. Good protection once again. Trevor Bowles having an outstanding night. Keeps his feet moving. Does not allow Greg Stuman to get around. That's a great night for Trevor Bowles.
And this is second and 10 for the Eskimos from the 51. Ham to his right. Sandusky should have made the catch.
Tracy Ham with the pass attempt to Jim Sandusky at the sidelines. Pass incomplete.
But see, when you're a veteran, you know, you can get away with a few of those because you've got a track record. You've done something in the past that's pretty good. Poor Jordan Gardner dropped two and got the hook.
Sandusky's first catch of the night was for a touchdown.
Yeah, I like that. Trevor, you've got reason to smile tonight. You're having a great game.
Third down. Here's Ray McAreedy. And the slight breeze is at McAreedy's back. Hang time again. This is Eddie Brown. Reversing, has a bit of a gap to the near side. His best return of the night, and Brown still going. McAreedy forced the fumble. Eskimos had the ball. Blake Marshall got back to knock the loose football out of bounds. Oh, tough luck. Ottawa.
Well, the Ottawa special teams worked really hard to spring a hole for Eddie Brown, and with his exceptional speed, gets to the outside. There's only one problem. At the end of all this, the ball is stripped loose, and number 35, Sean Millington, strips it loose, and Blake Marshall, with the presence of mind to just knock it out of bounds. You don't have to have possession in our league. Knock it out of bounds, and you get possession.
Well, that would have been a 48-yard return with an Ottawa first down at the Eskimo 35. Instead, the Eskimos have first down, and Reggie Taylor carries across the 40. Mark at a 5-yard game with 2:55 on the clock. The Eskimos leading 30-16 here in the third quarter.
Well, a lot of funny things happening tonight. Plays that should have and could have and would have been had players been able to hang on to the football. It's going to get tougher. The rains are coming in.
Second and 5. Stillman gets some pressure. Ham got it away, but he was off target, intending that for Sandusky. No real chance for Sandusky.
No, Greg Stuman's had a frustrating night tonight. Hasn't been able to get close to the quarterback. That time he did, and by the time Sandusky was able to push off and get loose, Tracy Ham didn't have enough time to get it to him. Greg Stuman on the outside gets past Brian Walling, number 34, and gets in on Tracy Ham.
The Brawleys are out at Commonwealth. McAreedy is in. Standing at his 25.
Ooh, man.
Big kick. Brown once more. Now hang on to it this time, Eddie. He does, but the return is not quite as successful. Minute 57 to go. We're in the third quarter with the Eskimos in front by 14.
Friday night, we'll have CFL report from Winnipeg with a debut of one-on-one with Les Brown. And following that, we've got the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming your way live at 8:30 Eastern time here on TSN. You know, I saw Ray McAreedy earlier in the game, fellas. He's moving in September. He's moving to Toronto to go to York University. He's going to still kick for the Eskimos. He's going to commute.
That'll be interesting, won't it? Just get there in time for the game.
Only a kicker could get away with that.
Stephon Jones wide open on first down, and a big gain for the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Damon Allen with the pass to Stefan Jones, complete.
We've got it close up.
Good protection from the offensive line. Affords Damon Allen the opportunity to find Stefan Jones in the post corner, turns Roy Bennett around. Beautiful pass pattern, makes a nice catch. And boy, he was an All-Canadian last year. He shows you why. The 34-yard reception gets Ottawa into Edmonton's side of the field.
Yes, first down Ottawa at the Eskimo 45. They need a touchdown by the end of this quarter with 1:21 to go. And there's a first down. Gerald Wilcox.
Wilcox complete to the Riders. 10-yard gain on the play for Ottawa.
I'm all right. I'm going.
They got 9.5.
Not quite a first down as I view it from here, but awful darn close. Second and less than 1.
Let's see the play action. Shake things up a little bit here.
Go for the big play here,
Yeah,
and if you miss
sure.
that, come back and get your first down on 2nd and inches.
I'd like to see it.
I
Got
love
1-and-1
your call.
out here with Stefan Jones. There they go. He's got him. Oh, no!
You called the play. Everything was absolutely perfect. Stefan dropped the ball.
Roy Bennett covering for the Eskimos.
Well, I wonder if it looks any better from up here.
Well, it's going to show you what a great fake it was. It held everybody. You could see that 1-on-1 outside with Roy Bennett and Mark Mathis. He runs, or Stefan Jones, rather. He runs a perfect pattern, but you know the result.
3rd and inches, Ottawa at the Eskimo 45. First down, and boy, there looks to be a little movement, but there are no penalty flags anywhere.
Well, I guess the good news, bad news scenario. The good news is you keep the drive going. The bad news is you should have had 7.
First and 10, Ottawa on the Eskimo 34-yard line.
Stefan Jones won't be looking at the game films or looking forward to game films after that. But it is an Ottawa first down.
Well, that when they get to that part. A couple of plays earlier, he might like that
That's
catch he
true.
made, yeah.
Reggie Barnes, number 19, in across the 30, a gain of 5. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter. A slight rain falling on Commonwealth Stadium. The hometown Eskimos have things their way so far, leading 30-16.
Love that shot up there. That was great on that.
Ready for the 4th quarter at Commonwealth in Edmonton. 2nd and 6, Ottawa at the Eskimo 30-yard line. Rough Riders really need a first down to continue this drive. Allen for Barnes. He has the first down. Barnes with an opportunity, and he's out at the 5-yard line. Now there was a play.
That's what I've been calling for. Run that 3-man pattern, clear out, and let Reggie Barnes or Conrad get out in the flat. And that's how you're going to beat this Edmonton defense. You got to force them down and then throw it off in the flat. Reggie Barnes makes the catch. 24-yard pickup, and Ottawa's got a nice drive going here. But this is it. If they want to blitz that linebacker, there you saw the linebacker come. They can get that ball out in the flat in a hurry. And Reggie Barnes, he's tough in the open field. Roy Bennett finally forced him out, but that's good offensive play.
Jim Rockford is the injured Eskimo. 1 interception last week. He was a Tiger Cat last year.
The numbers after 3 quarters show a slight edge for Edmonton. In net yards, the Eskimos lead by about 80, but oh, what a difference a catch by Stefan Jones would have made in those statistics.
Well, there's one more opportunity for Ottawa here and now.
Yeah, they need the 7 here. Like 3 just won't get it done at this stage. You're in the 4th quarter. You're against the defense that last week really tightened it down in the 4th quarter. So 7 points, in my opinion, is imperative.
Rockford still being attended to by the Eskimo training staff. He's one of many new faces back there in the Eskimo secondary for 1991.
I think it's a good addition for the Eskimos. Last year they played a few other people back there and really got hurt in blitzing situations where they asked their middle safety to come up in man-to-man coverage. They got burnt a number of times, but Jim Rockford, a proven veteran, has been in the league for 5 years, will I'm sure, add a little stability to that group, and I know that's what Ron Lancaster's thinking was.
Replacing Jim Rockford in the lineup is Mark Norman, who started the preseason as the Eskimos starting safety for the 3rd straight year. But for the 3rd straight year, he was injured before the regular season began. He suffered a cracked rib in training camp. Last year he broke a collarbone. The year before that he tore up his knee, so he's kind of a hard luck case, but he's in there now.
And here are the Rough Riders. 1st and goal to go from the Eskimos 6. Allen to the end zone. No catch. Mathis, number 13, covering on Eddie Brown.
Wow, this looks like a great throw by Damon Allen. Eddie Brown with a good move to get to the outside. He's running that fade pattern where Allen will work it towards the sidelines. And, well, you know, it would have been a tough catch, but
a possible catch, but it really hit him in the left shoulder. It was a little off the target.
You're being kind to the guys, aren't you?
Well. Now 2nd and 6. 2nd and goal.
He's in.
Touchdown. In a walk for Damon Allen. The Riders are back in this ball game.
Well, that's a huge series for them. They had to score the 7. They were able to do so, and they find themselves right back into this football game. Everybody spread out, trips formation to the wide side of the field. Damon Allen with a little play-action fake on the draw to Reggie Barnes. It holds all the linebacking crew, and he's able to nonchalantly walk into the end zone with Ottawa's first offensive touchdown of the night.
Absolutely correct. The other Riders score was on an interception by Anthony Drawhorn. Terry Baker adds the point after. It's a 7-point ball game. The Edmonton Eskimos hanging on to a lead of 30-23.
Well, in the past, one of the main criticisms of Damon Allen was his nonchalant approach. The emotions never too high and too low, and he talked about his low-key approach to playing pro football.
Well, it's hard to say. I think over my career, I think I'm not one of the types of rah-rah, but basically I'm really focusing on what I have to do on the football field. And it's really hard to tell. I really can't, you know, be somebody else, but be Damon Allen. And the best way to be Damon Allen is to be very confident in my abilities and not be rah-rah, but basically make all good decisions and try to play good football.
Steve Goldman says Damon Allen, excellent at times, hasn't been great all the time.
Well, you know, I thought that was a great answer. I mean, you can't be somebody that you're just not, personality-wise. And if people are upset because Damon Allen doesn't jump up and down, as isn't the case when he scores here, or get frustrated and throw his helmet down when things aren't going his way, well, that's just too bad. Damon Allen is a low-key kind of guy, and I don't think anyone can question his desire and want to win, and I thought he answered that question really well.
And for now, Allen has the Rough Riders right back in this game with 14:03 to play, fourth quarter. It is 30-23 for the Eskimos. And this could be an opportunity for Ottawa here. No, the Eskimos get the ball back on the fumble.
Greg Ellis.
Greg Ellis lost it.
Well, it turns out the Stephon Jones miss did not cost the Ottawa Rough Riders. They score on the drive, which covered 78 yards, and Damon Allen takes it in from 6 yards out. Jim Rockford has a pulled hamstring. Word from the Eskimo benches, he will not return.
It is up to the Ottawa defense right now to hold the Eskimos and get the ball back in a hurry. 1st and 10 Edmonton. This drive begins at the Eskimo 32. And with room to the outside, he decides to carry himself. Sneaky little move there. He's most of the way to a first down.
Yeah, and he got a great block from David Williams downfield. You know, David Williams not only a great receiver, but when he has an opportunity to dish out a little bit of punishment back to a defensive guy, he relishes that opportunity. Watch right here. Lance Shields will get smacked. That's a good hit.
Those wide receivers love to block, don't
well,
they?
you know, David Williams, he's not exactly a peewee out there. He's 6'4", 195.
7-yard gain. Thanks to David Williams. And this is 2nd and 3. The Eskimos at the 39. Reggie Taylor carries. And we'll see where they spot this one. He should be close.
Boy, you could hear the contact all the way up in the booth here. Jeff Braswell, number 51, with the initial hit on Reggie Taylor. And how about that for a shot tonight? The sun finally breaking through here at 10 to 10 local time. Sets a little later out here in the west.
We are in the land of the midnight sun.
Yes.
Northern Alberta.
That is beautiful.
That camera location high atop the girders here at Commonwealth Stadium, and there's the cityscape. Old Clark Stadium, we just moved by there. And
don't remind me, I had some bad memories from that place.
Yeah.
First down, Eskimos.
We got beaten up in there a few times, but isn't that pretty?
We bring you right back to the ballpark.
That's great. I guess this is our version of the Goodyear blimp. Is it?
Skycam.
Skycam. Ah.
It is a first down for the Eskimos. Ham in some difficulty and escapes once more. Fired that one off target, intended for
Tracy Ham's pass attempt to
Christian Mazzati.
Daniel Hunter covering for the Riders on the plane.
How in the world did Tracy Ham ever get away from that rush? Greg Stuman, Trevor Bowles, they are a featured matchup tonight. That time pressure was applied, and Greg Stuman at the top of your screen working on Trevor Bowles initially doesn't get there, but in fact never gets there. Tracy Ham works to the outside. He is slippery.
Penalty flags all over the field on 2nd and 10 Edmonton. And the call goes against the Eskimos. Boy, the Eskimos had a lot of penalties last week, in total 18.
Legal procedure, Edmonton number 68, still second down.
It is still second down, but it is now 2nd and 15 as the Eskimos move back to the 36. And with time, looks deep for David Williams, and it's underthrown. Charles Gordon, number 26, with Williams step for step. And Williams had to wait for it.
Yeah, he was open initially, and by the time Tracy Ham found him, it was too late. And the ball, watch it, just hangs up in the air a little bit too long. You know, he hit Craig Ellis with a lovely touchdown pass. He put a lot of airtime on, but this one needed to be driven in there a little faster and a little quicker, and Charles Gordon able to recover and knock that ball away.
Here's Ray McAreedy at his 23. On 3rd and 15 Edmonton, the Eskimos leading by a touchdown. It's 30-23 with 12:09 to play in the 4th. A little pressure on by Scott Flagel. McAreedy gets it away. And here's Eddie Brown. Goes to the far side, and the flag is already down. Too bad, because there was a pretty good block thrown over there. Eddie Brown out near the 40-yard line, but I think they'll bring this back. All right, some cute faces at Commonwealth tonight. The girls are enjoying a good ball game.
Here's how it's gone tonight. Terry Baker opened the scoring with a 12-yard field goal to make it 3-0. Edmonton came right back, though. Tracy Ham to Craig Ellis from 29. 7-3 Edmonton. Then the Gizmo, Henry Williams, 62-yard punt return. Edmonton led 14-3, but on the next possession, Tracy Ham intercepted by Anthony Drawhorn and took it in for the touchdown, and Edmonton's lead was cut to 14-10. Then another Terry Baker field goal cut the lead to 14-13. Edmonton regained the 8-point lead before the end of the half. Blake Marshall with a 3rd down run from 19 yards out made it 21-13. Then Edmonton extended the lead further. Tracy Ham scrambled to find Jim Sandusky. They missed the convert. That made it 27-13. Second half, Terry Baker from 21, and it's 27-16. Ray McAreedy responds for Edmonton, and it's 30-16. And then it was Damon Allen taking it in from 6 yards out, and that brings you right up to date. Edmonton leads 30-23 in the 4th quarter.
With 11:50 to play.
Did Gord Miller do that in one breath?
I think he did.
Did he?
Injured Eskimo being attended to. Stefan Jordan, former Ticat.
There he is at the right of your screen, and number 14, I believe. Was that 14, Scott Flagel? He unloads.
That was a great block.
Oh, my.
But the penalty flag was already on the field.
Yeah, that was not a penalty. That was a good hit. Boy, those special teams, I mean, you really have to have your head on a swivel.
The penalty is going against the Ottawa Rough Riders. Marco Sinkar on the sidelines, long-serving veteran of the Eskimos. He's injured.
The hair's getting a little long, isn't it?
Marco was here for it all, you know, all the Grey Cups.
Yeah. He was a teammate of mine in Hamilton for a year.
That's right.
Here he was on loan.
On loan to the Tiger
Yeah.
Cats. That was a great deal, wasn't
In fact, you know what, Johnny? He is not hurt. He is really not with the club. He was released, and he's just kind of helping out a little bit. Saw him in the hotel lobby today. In fact, he was having a chat with Steve Goldman. Is there anything there, do you think, maybe? No. Marco still wants to play. I know that. He looked pretty good.
Klondike Days open in Edmonton tomorrow. Wish we could stay around for it. You get your Western get-up on.
I got the cowboy hat, you know.
You look good in a cowboy hat.
Well, I have to wear it when I go riding.
How can you...
Calling the saddle.
You grew up in Etobicoke, Ontario.
Yeah.
How did you get to be a cowboy?
My wife made me do it.
What's the name of your horse there, partner?
Phantom. Good to see Stefan Jordan get up. I mean, he took a lick. Just shows you the kind of shape that these guys are really in and how resilient they really are. He took a whack, and he's like Timex. Took a lick and keep on ticking, you know.
Oh, you're reaching down. First down for the Ottawa Rough Riders, and after the penalty on the kick return, the Riders begin this drive from the 15. Trailing by a touchdown, some room for Allen near side, and he'll get the first down easily. Allen steps out at the 37-yard line.
Okay, now, you know, we talked about the three-man patterns where you can hit that guy in the flat. This is just as good. He sends Stefan Jones down deep, Wilcox down deep. They clear out, so he either runs or throws, and this time everything opened up, so his speed and agility gets them a first down.
22 yards total. And it looked like he was thinking run from the start here.
Yeah, I think so. You know, there comes a point in the game when you have to take matters into your own hands, and obviously this is the time. He scored their lone touchdown, and now his running ability gets him out to better field position.
He intended that one for Reggie Barnes.
Damon Allen pass attempt to Reggie Barnes.
Damon Allen was off the mark.
Enos Jackson covering for the Eskimos.
11:17 to play, fourth quarter.
Second and
the Eskimos in front of the Riders, 30-23. Ready now for a 2nd and 10. Ottawa, the Eskimo 37. Sideline pattern, complete. Stefan Jones.
Damon Allen's pass complete to Stefan Jones.
Well, it took them almost 2.5 quarters to get Stefan Jones involved in the offense, but he's had a good second half, and here you're going to see him working number 20, Roy Bennett, pushes him downfield, and then a quick break to the outside, a timing pattern where Damon Allen knows exactly where he's going to break. He lets the ball fly early, and pretty tough to defend that.
Yeah, the break was at 13 yards, and that's the gain.
Yeah, looked good.
First down, Ottawa. Far side this time. Eddie Brown, the intended receiver. 2nd and 10.
Mark Mathis covering for the Eskimos.
In football terms, Stefan Jordan got earholed, which resulted in him getting ragdolled. The translation, he got hit in the side of the head, and he was knocked out for a minute, but he should be okay.
Does the name Commonwealth Stadium mean anything to you?
Right. I've been there before. It is it's not a fun feeling.
2nd and 10, Ottawa. And Wilcox makes the catch, but he's a little short of the first down.
He made a good read, though. The young receiver saw the zone coverage and sat right down in that open area. Damon Allen read the same thing, got it into him, and they are awfully close to first down. In fact, yes, they did pick it up. So Gerald Wilcox, a young receiver, doing a nice job there to find the open spot.
So the Rough Rider drive continues with 9:54 to play, fourth quarter. And the Eskimos in front of the Ottawa Rough Riders by a touchdown. It is 30-23. First down, Ottawa, just inside the Edmonton 50. Whoa! Eddie Brown almost made the miracle catch. He really turned on the Jets at the last second there to get behind the coverage, and he didn't miss by much, did he?
Boy, that was close. A short roll, and Eddie Brown in behind Mark Mathis. And just at the last second, some pressure from Craig Ellis, who's actually playing in that middle safety spot. That's pretty good range for a guy that doesn't play that position too often. There he is. Mr. Versatility of the Edmonton Eskimos, number 33, Craig Ellis.
Eddie Brown shaken up as he tried to make that catch. Second-year receiver out of Iowa State, 5'11", 175. First year in Ottawa.
Well, definitely the difference in tonight's ball game has been the special teams play of the Edmonton Eskimos. That is a lot of yardage they have accumulated right there. 318 total kick return yards. I mean, that's about 3 games worth right there. The difference in our ball game so far, and the reason why the Eskimos have a 7-point advantage here in the fourth quarter.
Look who's playing safety for the Edmonton Eskimos. None other than Craig Ellis with the injury to the defensive backfield. Ellis is pressed into service and suddenly becomes a two-way player.
2nd and 10 riders on the Eskimo 50.
Ready now for the 2nd and 10. Ottawa. Allen has time. Nobody's open. So Allen goes himself and comes up with a first down, sliding in across the 40.
Damon Allen running the ball for about 12 yards for the Riders on that play.
You want to see how a slot back plays middle safety? Deep. Like deep. He is 20 yards from the line of scrimmage there, and he's got the quick feet moving around there.
It is a first down for the Ottawa Rough Riders. This is Reggie Barnes. He's across the 40. And across the 35.
Now, I'm not being critical of Craig Ellis. He's a good pal of mine, but, like, he is so far back, he will not show up in that game film that they're going to watch tomorrow.
He may not want to, depending on how it goes, but he's had a good game on the other side of the ball.
If there's a quick kick, he's in great shape.
Mark Norman, number 23, is listed as the backup safety behind the injured Jim Rockford. They've got Craig Ellis playing center field back there right now. Gain of 5. This is 2nd and 5, and no catch at the far side. Jock Slimy had to come back for the ball and couldn't come back far enough. Damon had to rush the throw a little bit too, and he ended up on the turf. So 3rd and 5 as this drive stalls at the Eskimo 34-yard line.
Take a look at Brian Illebrun being attended to on the field. The reason Craig Ellis is playing safety is that Mark Norman has had to move over to take the place of Stefan Jordan at halfback. The Eskimos have had to change their defensive calls as a result. They can't call any of their complex defenses because, of course, Craig Ellis doesn't know them. And after every defensive call, Danny Bass gives him a quick tutorial on the defense they're playing.
A 40-yard field goal try. John Congemi will hold for Terry Baker. On the mark again. Baker's not doing badly in his first year as a field goal kicker in the pros. He's been perfect all season long. What a great view we have from overhead camera high in the rafters over Commonwealth Stadium as we bring you back inside the ballpark now with 7:38 to play in the final quarter. And it's a 4-point ball game with the Eskimos leading 30-26. Don Metz, our ace cameraman, is up behind those lights somewhere. Now we zoom in. And there's Don.
Little dark dot right there is fearless Don Metz.
Hope he's got his safety harness strapped on. He's waving. Baker's kickoff. And lost by Craig Ellis, but he got it back.
Craig Ellis, no return on the play.
Wilcox on one side. and Roy Bennett on the other. Muscles are tightening up out there, although it's not that hot a night, isn't it? Usually when the weather's a little warmer.
Yeah, I doubt that it's cramping. I think they're just trying to stay loose.
1st and 10 for the Eskimos. And this drive begins at the Edmonton 36. Reggie Taylor slipped as he tried to make the cut. Charles Gordon was there to pin him.
That's good defense by Charles Gordon. You know, he has to go back with the wide receiver, David Williams, and then read the pattern as it develops. He saw the ball being sloughed off out into the flat. He comes up, and he is now taken over for Lance Shields here in the 4th quarter, and I thought that was a pretty good play.
Good for a gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Eskimos now at the 38. Tracy Ham on target out at the 52.
Tracy Ham's pass to Craig Ellis.
Craig Ellis comes up with another catch. 106 catches for Ellis last season.
And this is how he did it. You know, he just has such a great knack of finding the open hole. You know, he's good against man, but he's even better against zone coverage. He 4 deep zone on 2nd and 8. He finds the hole and keeps this drive going.
4-point ball game and a first down for the Eskimos as orange flags fly once more. Pass was well off the target, and likely reason for that is Tracy Ham on the ground being pressured. Penalty is going against the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Sir, that was an uncatchable ball.
Holding, Edmonton number 68. Forward pass interference, Ottawa. First down repeated.
1 each way. I guess that makes sense to 2 flags. 30-26.
1st and 10 Eskimos. With the ball on their own
1st and 10 at the 51. Ham gets away from the pressure, and it's picked off by Scott Flagel. What a great interception as Flagel came over the top and actually held it in one hand. He's back to the 49.
That was an outstanding play, a ball that Tracy Ham let get away from him, trying to hit Craig Ellis. And Scott Flagel comes up with his first interception of the year, and you're going to see a great shot of it. Craig Ellis, the 2nd receiver in from the bottom of your screen. He gets jammed initially. Now watch as Tracy Ham gets out of the pocket. He tries to feather it in downfield. The ball sails in. Scott Flagel has the interception, and the Ottawa Rough Rider defense in the 2nd half is really getting the job done.
2nd interception of the night. The first one went for a touchdown. Now the Ottawa Rough Riders with a first down at the 49. Damon Allen far side. Brown makes the catch, gets away from one. He's got some room, and he's got speed. Eddie Brown. Touchdown. Wasn't sure if he went out about the 10, but they call it a touchdown. 60 yards. And the Ottawa Rough Riders have the lead for the first time since the opening quarter. Well, Coach Lancaster a little upset because I think Brown could have been stopped.
Well, here's what happens when you've got a guy with tremendous speed. One mistake, the missed tackle, and another missed tackle, and there's going to be 2 more missed tackles, and Eddie Brown with some tremendous speed gets away from Craig Ellis at the end, and initially Roy Bennett, or rather make that Mark Mathis, and the Ottawa Rough Riders, who have struggled all night long, find themselves in the lead.
And he just stayed in bounds. Terry Baker adds to the Rough Rider lead. It is now a 3-point ball game, but it favors the Ottawa Rough Riders. And the last time Ottawa led was in the opening quarter, also by 3 points.
Well, have a look at the top of your screen. An easy pass to complete, only about 8 yards downfield. 1-2 missed tackles, and that's all she wrote. Eddie Brown had a touchdown last week, adds another one this week. And the Ottawa Rough Riders, who have really turned it up a notch here in the 2nd half of this ball game. The defense especially tightening it down, and the offense coming through with the production. Damon Allen's touchdown, now this one by Eddie Brown.
60-yard touchdown for Ed Brown, and the Rough Riders have the lead.
That touchdown, a clear case of Ottawa taking advantage of Edmonton's defensive backfield. They've got to call very simple defenses, and Roy Bennett is not healthy, but he's got to play because there's nobody else. "33-30. The Rough Riders have the lead. Baker kicks it for Enos Jackson. Here's his return. Whoa! Big hit by Sean Foodie, number 22. 26-yard return, however, after a 54-yard kickoff. And with 5:23 to go, the Eskimos try to mount a comeback.
Wow, with defensive back problems, Enos Jackson really, he's wobbly coming off the field. He took a tremendous pop from Sean Foodie there. And I mean, as Gord Miller's explained, there's not a whole lot of guys left that can play defense.
From the 47, Edmonton first down. Ham finds his receiver, Reggie Taylor.
Well, I'm sure the Ottawa defense will be content to let Edmonton dump the ball off like that. They only picked up 4 yards on that play, and time goes off the clock, under 5 minutes remaining now. But the Ottawa defense would be very content to let Edmonton complete some short passes.
Good ball game here tonight.
Oh, great game. I mean, you have
it all.
Yes, and you have to give Ottawa credit. I mean, this is a tough park to come in as the visiting team, and they've really held their own.
The Eskimos do not lose often at Commonwealth. This is 2nd and 6. Ham looks deep for Williams. And a flag. And Charles Gordon. You hated the call?
No, I thought it was a great call. I just felt like Charles Gordon didn't have to interfere with him. The ball was going to be overthrown.
I didn't know why you were shaking your head.
Ottawa number 26, first down Edmonton.
Yeah, we'll have a look at it right here, and David Allen lets one fly for David Williams. I don't think this ball would have been caught.
44 yards.
No question about the interference, Charles Gordon.
It is a first down for the Eskimos with 4:30 to go. Edmonton at the Ottawa 15 as a result. Tracy Ham sprints himself and heads to the sidelines. He's out at the 10. Lancaster has him moving again.
Well, Tracy Ham had to take off and run with the football. He was going to a side where there was only one receiver, Jim Sandusky, and Andre Francis is puts a little of the hook on him there, but that's the reason why Tracy Ham had to run with football.
Second down, 5 to go. The Eskimos at the Ottawa 10-yard line. Ham is buried. Stuman was through, number 45. And Patrick Wayne was all around him, too.
Greg Stuman's had a frustrating night tonight, but he makes a huge play here late in the fourth quarter. Tracy Ham, he wants to hit Ellis quickly. He's just simply covered too well, and Stuman comes in along with Patrick Wayne. And the Ottawa defense, they bent a little bit, as the old saying goes, but they didn't break.
Loss of 9. 3 sacks for the Ottawa defense now. And Ray McAreedy is in now, kicking for the tie. The field goal is good, but there is a penalty marker down.
Well, this will be very interesting if it's something more than an offside.
The down marker is reading 3, and necessary yardage for a first down, 9, so it's 3rd and 9.
Sure, if it's offside, they'll just take the 3, decline it, and that'll be it.
Offside, Ottawa number 1, decline. Field goal stands.
You're on the mark tonight, partner. 3:25 to go. 33-33.
Coming up on Friday, we'll have a CFL report from Winnipeg. Les Brown makes his debut. That's followed by live CFL action between BC and Winnipeg. And let's go back now to the action here, which has turned out to be great.
Bring your mosquito net to Winnipeg for Friday night. They've got a real epidemic of mosquitoes.
Did they really?
There.
Oh,
yes,
my God.
absolutely. They're carrying off dogs. They're that big. Anthony Drawhorn on the return for the Ottawa Rough Riders. Out to the 32-yard line. And we're in for a big finish at Commonwealth this evening. 3:19 to go in the fourth quarter of a great CFL encounter. 17-yard return for Drawhorn. And here comes Damon. Damon Allen has brought the Ottawa Rough Riders back to even. And actually into the lead at one point.
He's done a nice job here in the second half. His running, and he's thrown some timely passes to Eddie Brown and Stephon Jones.
Aided a little bit by a few leaks in that Eskimos secondary. The Eskimos have some injuries back there. First down Ottawa from the 32. And it's complete for a first down. Stephon Jones out to the 50.
Well, I think Gord Miller made a good point when he mentioned that Roy Bennett was also hurting. That time he really did not challenge Stephon Jones at all. And the Edmonton secondary is kind of hurting, and Damon Allen made that look pretty easy.
18 yards for Stephon Jones. And we're all even at Commonwealth. The 3-minute warning is up.
Last Thursday at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, actually last year on a Thursday at Lansdowne Park in Ottawa, it was a shootout between Edmonton and the Rough Riders. Stephon Jones caught one of Damon Allen's touchdown bombs. Reggie Taylor had a big night for the Edmonton Eskimos as well, as he hauled in this one from Damon Allen. And it was a wild night at Lansdowne Park, which was capped off finally by the Ottawa Rough Riders. Reggie Barnes, who had the big night for the Rough Riders, who won it by a final score of 50 to 46.
Well, Leif, we won't get quite that high here tonight, but we've seen a lot. 66 points on the board, 33 for each team. Ottawa Rough Riders will have a first down as the Eskimos have a few problems in their secondary right now.
Well, they're really back to basics. Simple zone coverage, and that's a lot easier, of course, on the young slot backs of the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Allen looks to the far side, and he missed his receiver, Eddie Brown.
Damon Allen, pass attempt to Eddie Brown, incomplete. Mark Mathis covering for the Eskimos.
2:51 to play here at Commonwealth.
Riders from their own 50.
It hasn't been easy for Lancaster in his first two games as the Eskimo head coach. Tough start last week, and he's in for a big finish here tonight. 2nd and 10 Ottawa. Allen near side. And short of the first down. Wilcox, did he make the catch?
I think he made the catch, but really only picked up about 5-6 yards. And he comes up limping. 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10, you know, you like to think that you go the necessary distance to pick up that first down. Here's Roy Bennett. We talked about his problems. He's not playing 100%, but physical enough that time to not allow Stephon Jones any room.
Baker's kick for Henry Williams. One for a touchdown already tonight. He's exciting to watch, but there was no room that time. Forced out by Greg Stuman. 19 yards, though.
Williams with a 19-yard return on that kick for the Eskimos.
It's up to the Eskimo offense now. The last drive netted 3 and tied the Ottawa Rough Riders.
Well, I think if you talk to Ron Lancaster right now with 2:30 remaining, he'd say, I like my chances. I got a very potent offense, mature veteran quarterback. I got over 2 minutes to go. I like my spot.
And he gets a good run from Reggie Taylor. A 9-yard gain. Taylor looked to be stopped. Hesitated a moment. Little spinorama move.
Oh, Danny Gallivan, right. Spinorama.
9 carries, 77 yards for Reggie Taylor.
Eskimos from their own 43-yard line.
This is 2nd and 1. And the Eskimos convert easily as Ham carries himself. 2:10 on the clock, 33-33 on the scoreboard.
Well, Tracy Ham tonight has been much more effective when he's gone out to the rollout or sprint out style. When he's been back in the pocket, seems like he's had a little trouble seeing his receivers downfield, so don't be surprised if he gets to the outside if they're going to throw the football and puts a lot of pressure on that defense because, of course, he can either run or throw it.
First and 10 Eskimos from their own 44.
From the 44 on first down, Tracy Ham carries himself. First down, Edmonton. Ham all the way down inside the 45. Linebacker Brian Bonner finally over to put the collar on Tracy Ham.
Boy, how many times late in the game have you seen Tracy Ham in his 5-year career take control of the ball game by himself? That time a 21-yard pickup. 1989, he sets a rushing record for quarterbacks. 1990, he breaks that record and sets a new one. Greg Stuman's had a tough night, just come so close.
After a 21-yard pickup, first down, Edmonton at the 46. Drop play, Reggie Taylor.
Reggie Taylor, the ball carrier for the Eskimos.
And he's down to the 41.
Picked up by Jeff Braswell to the right.
Bonner again on the tackle.
And with that run by Reggie Taylor, Ray McAreedy, number 4 on the sidelines, begins to limber up that right leg of his, anticipating maybe an opportunity to win this game in the dying seconds. There he is.
31 to go. Now, ticking away. Ham gets away once more, fumbling out of bounds. Stuman was chasing him. Now, where will they spot the football?
Well, it appears as though he's
Tracy Ham with a 3-yard gain on
a couple of yards short. So, interesting decision.
Run out of bounds by Greg Stuman of the Riders.
About a 45-yard field goal attempt, and that's exactly what Ron Lancaster chooses to do. I mean, as they say in curling, he kind of holds the hammer here, you know?
Yeah, I wonder if Ray Turnbull's listening.
If you miss it, you still have a chance for the single point. If all else fails, you'll pin Ottawa deep in their own territory. So, very good choice.
A 44-yard try for Ray McAreedy, possibly for the win. It's wide. Flagel gets out to the 1 with 1 minute left and a penalty flag back behind the line of scrimmage. So Flagel gets it out. It's still tied. But the Rough Riders appear to be offside. Oh, Steve, I feel for you on that one.
Offside, Ottawa number 1, first down.
Former Eskimo, Andre Francis, top of your screen. Second time tonight.
Can you call that? Why don't you tell the
Well, there you see the top of the screen, and no question about it. I mean, they have to make that call. It's a good call, a great camera shot angle to see it. Andre Francis gets called for the offside. Let's Ray McAreedy off the hook.
And it's a first down for the Eskimos. Reggie Taylor once more into the final minute now.
5-yard gain for the Eskimos on the play. Glenn Kolka making the tackle for the Riders.
They'll be calling him Houdini. Lancaster.
2nd and 5. Eskimos on the Ottawa 27.
Escaped last week in Saskatchewan, has a chance for the win here with less than a minute to go. This is 2nd and 5 Eskimos.
And I think you saw Ronnie signal from the sideline. Just drive it straight ahead. Or fake.
Good fake. How about that? Touchdown. Jim Sandusky. Boy, I thought Ham was awfully close to the line when he threw it. Hard heartbreaker for the Ottawa Rough Riders with 30 seconds left.
Well, he fooled everybody. Blake Marshall with the fake and Tracy Ham the rollout. Sandusky all alone. This is a spectacular catch.
Two for Sandusky. And the Eskimos take the lead once more. 27 yards. Tracy Ham to Jim Sandusky. To 33. Pretty good line of scrimmage for me, Leaf. No doubt. No doubt about the catch. All right, Houdini, you've escaped again. I thought he was getting a little grayer. He's going to be pulling it out by the end of the season.
Get a little sparse up there late in the game here. Well, you know, I was watching poor Andre Francis as he left the field. I mean, no place to hide.
"30 seconds to go. One last gasp for Goldman and the Ottawa Rough Riders. Anthony Drawhorn on the return. He's out to the 35 with 24 seconds to go.
Anthony Drawhorn with a 15-yard return on that kick for the Riders.
40-33. The Eskimos have come back to take the lead with 10 points in a row.
First and 10 Riders from their own 35-yard line.
With Stephon Jones down at the 55. Wisely so for a first down.
Loneliest man in the ballpark right now. Andre Francis called for offside. Gave the Eskimos a second kick at the catch.
40-yard gain for the Riders on that play.
Feel sorry for him.
First and 10.
And the Eskimos took full advantage.
Yes, they did.
15 seconds. Counting down now. 12. Ottawa first down. Damon Allen gets out of bounds and stops the clock with 4 seconds to go. Receivers were all covered as the Eskimos drop back
running the ball for an 8-yard
the deep zone.
At least what Damon did there, I mean, he's put his team in a position now to, you know, launch one to the end zone. They're 46 yards away, and he can certainly throw it that far. So with 4 seconds left, he still has an opportunity for the old alley-oop. Not a happy bunch of guys right there, and they don't look happy. They will be in a few minutes.
Tyler.
They're still not completely relieved at the Eskimo side, though. There's one last opportunity.
Well, they
Throw
know
it up
that
and maybe a good thing can happen. Rough Riders need 7 points. And look at that defensive alignment, Leaf.
Well, here's what they've got: the 3 receivers to the top of the screen: Stephon Jones, Eddie Brown, and company. Well,
Zeros up on the clock as the big charge came from the Eskimo defense. Allen is down, and the Ottawa Rough Riders lose the ball game as the toaster came through on the final play of the night. Lancaster batting 1,000 as the head coach in Edmonton.
Wow, he must feel pretty satisfied about another win. Poor old Steve Goldman. I feel very, very sorry for him. His team battled back so hard.
They didn't shake hands last year, Goldman and the Eskimo head coach, Joe Faragelli. They're shaking hands again with Ronnie Lancaster.
Well, that's the reason why Goldman left. He wasn't too happy with Faragelli. Now it's a different regime, different story.
There's your final. Great night of football on TSN.
Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Delta Faucet of Canada. It comes late in the fourth quarter. The game tied at 33. Ray McAreedy lining up for the field goal. Andre Francis is offside. Edmonton gets a first down and converts. Tracy Ham rolls out and finds Jim Sandusky, who makes the circus catch. A diving grab that gives the Edmonton Eskimos a 40-33 victory over the Ottawa Rough Riders. A cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for training and development of coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Delta, the way water is brought to life. We'll have more from Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton in just a moment. This is the CFL Game of the Week on TSN. Our coverage of the CFL continues, and it begins with a CFL report from Winnipeg. That's followed by live football between the BC Lions and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers at 8:30 Eastern Time. Our final score from Commonwealth Stadium: the Edmonton Eskimos defeat the Ottawa Rough Riders 40-33. The CFL Game of the Week on TSN, brought to you by Diet 7-Up. It's cool to be clear. And by GMC Trucks, the trucks more people lean on.